Remember, we have partnered up with SteelSeries for the MSI. Use code Paladins20 on the SteelSeries website. Some exclusions apply, but you'll get 20% off your purchase. I use the Arctis 7 headset, and I absolutely love it. I'm joined here on the desk for our last set of the day by none other than Evan Rainday. Rainer, what a set. I mean, we have to move on to our fourth set, but what just happened? Oh, my.
Hard to move on.
Set 3 was absurd. You got to cast it. You experienced it.
I was there.
And that was crazy.
You know, it's like having a bad breakup or a huge fight, with your significant other, and then having to go do like a work task,
Right.
Just your mind's not in it.
Your mind is removed.
And,
right.
and I apologize in advance because it's going to take me a second to get to the level I should be on this desk because I'm recovering.
Right, no.
I'm in recovery, and I admit it.
The community at large probably is as well. I mean, we knew Penta was a good team, but that was a benchmark for how good of a team they are. And
hell of a bench.
Convincing 3-0 victory here. But, of course, while our minds may still be in set number 3, our bodies and our eyes have to continue on to set number 4, and it's going to be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to focus as much as I can. I don't even know who's playing. I honestly don't know who's playing this next match.
Virtus.Pro.
Okay, all right, there we go. I'm back. I at least have my bearings. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
like a 360. I got turned around, but this match really deserves a lot of great attention because these are two teams that are also heavily in the conversation of title contenders for the MSI.
Absolutely, and they definitely should be. Envy, of course, we'll look at that side first. And sort of in a meta of these hybrid off-tanks, the aggression, you look at Rubu on their side.
You do.
He loves to play Ruckus. He'll play the Khan. He's up there with the best of them. He's very, I would say, just kind of rock solid. He'll have some performances where he really stands out, but he kind of has a high floor where he won't have horrendous horrible games where he ends up losing everything. That's a little dramatic, but the point being, he's a rock solid player that Envy can lean on.
What's awesome is that that's kind of been Envy's thing. They lost it a little bit, they got it back in a big way. They lost it a little bit. We'll see what happens here. They've been a lot more inconsistent over the course of this season than they have in the season prior where they won the World Championship most recently, and that's to be expected. That was just a hell of a run. It's almost impossible to do better than that, and so they're just trying to play their best as much as they can. But you're right, the high floor, a lot of times Envy, at least historically, will give you great, consistent performances. They're one of the better drafting North American teams. They're one of the better kind of minds of that. And, part of it is because of Rubu. A lot of it is because of the ability for Rock Monkey as well to be so consistent and how much he contributes to the team.
It's sort of that 1-2 Rock Monkey random noob punch. And a phrase that I started saying a lot at the beginning of this PPL split was the Rock Monkey effect, because it's one of those things where any given game, any player in the league, I would say, has the potential for it, but Rock Monkey is the one, for whatever reason, and I think the reason ends up being he's a very good player, he's the one who ends up finding the triple kills, the quadra kills, whatever they may be. And it's almost like a sixth man in a way. And a lot of other players in the league have that ability, but Rock Monkey's name always ends up coming up in a lot of these fights. And just the same as you lean on Rubu to really control that front line, Rock Monkey needs to be leaned on to control a lot of the damage.
And he's the way he plays is so efficient because you could see that little moment. How many of you kind of, I'm playing Cassie, you think about it, would have rolled after Spunky down there? Because you're like, I see a kill, I'm going to go take that 1v1.
99% of us.
99% of us were like, oh yeah, give me that. But he just stays up top because he knows that everything else is coming to him. It's the higher percentage play, very much like, how you would have to go through poker and saying, okay, this version of this card is worth betting on, and it's not. And so you really have to take more of a mathematical approach, and he does that. One of the only rare players who doesn't really play with emotion very often, and it's so successful for him.
Well, they're one of the two teams in the league that's been able to beat NIP up to this point, and looking for some consistency. Will they find it today? They'll certainly hope so. Let's jump down to an interview. Gormizer standing by with MetaPusher.
We have karaoke in the Envy booth as we're getting ready here. I saw everyone kind of getting ready, getting warmed up. And, the end of the split, you guys did pretty well. You ended actually on a win, so it was a great way to, I think, close things out. Now you're coming in. You're playing VP, who you played twice so far. How are you feeling about this set?
Feeling pretty good. We split 1-1 with VP during the regular season, so that's not too favorable of a result, but I think we've definitely improved a lot since that first loss, and, the second match we played with him was pretty decisive, so we're definitely really confident.
That was, I think, 4-2 in week 3 that they won, and then you guys came back with a pretty convincing 4-1. So you have, I would argue, the favor because you won the most recent matchup, and they are coming in, as I think we've been describing them, like the hottest and the coldest team. Like, when they play well, they play exceedingly well, but they don't always show up. What at VP are you expecting today? Are they going to put up a really strong fight, or is it a little iffy?
I'm expecting them to put up a strong fight. I think really the first map is honestly going to be the most important. You know, in these best of fives, getting off on the right foot is really important. And, you know, even in our 4-1 that we recently played, they won the first map. So if they start off hot, they could definitely give us a run. But if we win this first map, I definitely think we are in good track to win the set.
So I guess coming into this, with everything that's been going on, is there anything crazy that you expect to maybe change, considering you're normally playing best of 7s? Does best of 5, other than that first map, like change much, like drafting wise, or is it going to kind of be more of the same, similar map picks, similar champions all around?
I think the map picks are going to be pretty similar. Champion-wise, though, things might be different. You know, we've been messing around with leaving Khan and Koa and Atlas and a lot of the OP tanks up, which is a big difference from the previous meta, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, awesome. Good luck in your games, man, and we will send it back to the desk as we get set up to go talk to VP in just a second.
Meta on top of the meta, as always. The Envy boys feeling good down in the booth, I'm sure. And like they said, they've split their sets 1-1 throughout this split, but the most recent one goes convincingly in favor of Envy. Do you think that that's maybe indicative of what we'll see today? Do you maybe give Envy an early edge just on paper?
I honestly don't really give anyone an edge in this matchup because these are two teams that really are land-dependent performers as well. And Virtus.Pro specifically is a team that will show up on land or not show up, and it will be like the Bacoa way that was described by Kresnik. You either underperform or you win. And that's how good Virtus.Pro can be, how dangerous they can be with a guy like Hecate who's done it so often on Nocturnes Gaming back in those semifinal runs. And so that's what they have to worry about. I think Envy should take the approach that maybe Navi did, maybe they didn't, maybe they had an off day, to Penta. You really have to respect every single opponent to the utmost degree. You do not know what can happen here.
And you said his name, Hecate. He's kind of hoping to act as that counter out to Rock Monkey on the opposite side. They fill, of course, the same role, literally, as far as team roll sheets would go. Honestly, most surprising, I mean, you look at his stats, the win-loss, 35 and 41, just doesn't feel, I don't know, like Virtus.Pro deserves, but they've been such a hot and cold team.
That's
and
right.
I say that because it's almost like their big wins, their big performances kind of outshadow some of their losses. Like, but they're a team that, you know, beats teams they shouldn't and sometimes loses to teams that they should beat. And it's sort of this weird dance, but they need Hecate to perform today.
Well, all dances at first are a little awkward, right? Because you're learning, you're trying to figure it out. I think Hecate is in a great spot to bring so much passion to that damage roll. He really does play with momentum really well, and I think that that's the difference between him and Rock Monkey. They're almost virtually the same as far as their abilities. Now, looking at Vex, he is one of the highest potential support players we've seen. He had a couple of moments this split that just made everyone go, oh my God, that Ice Mine's Genos jump, the ability for him to turn fights around by himself on this role is amazing. But what I don't see from him that I see from healers like Mittal is the consistency. This team has been a little up and down, whereas SSG have been a little bit more consistent. And so if Vex can bring the Vex we all know is possible out there, he gave up U2 right now. He gave up focusing on his content creation. He really wants to win this MSI. If he can bring his best, this is going to be a dangerous team.
I mean, he's motivated, he's focused. If nothing else, he's a student of the game. You know that this guy, and all of them are. All of these teams practice and learn. They watch VODs, but he's so dedicated anyway. I mean, he has a dedicated YouTube channel, and he just loves learning. He loves playing the game, and that's sort of that support role that we also talk about. You know, they're standing back looking at the battlefield, so you need somebody who has all that in-game knowledge to really control things, and I think he fills that role pretty well.
And Dave, we'll hear from Spuds here a little bit, but I understand how difficult it is to make a decision like that when you've got your personal thing that you're going on, you've got your team, and they seem to connect, right? It's like you're playing Paladins all the time, but it really is important that he took and single-focused his mind on this moment. I think it's going to play big dividends like that. I've yet to see big sacrifices like that not support a person who chooses into them. So really excited to see how they perform today.
Yeah, well, we talked about some of the players. Let's hear how their coach, the Spuds, is thinking. Gormizer standing by.
Well, now we're over in the VP booth, and I came in here. Envy was jamming out. They were singing some Lion King. You guys were jamming out, playing some like old meme songs, getting ready, getting pumped. How are you guys feeling going against this again? I said this to Meta Pusher on the other side, but you played Envy a couple times already. Like, you know this team pretty well. How do you feel coming into the set?
We feel good. The scrims this week were solid. We feel prepared. Head-to-head, 1-1.
Yep.
Let's break the tie.
And that's, I think, the other thing to look at. You know, in week 3, you guys were able to win as a 4-2. And week, I believe it was 10, it ended up being a 4-1 for Envy. Do you think them winning more recently is going to have a bigger impact? Or do you think that kind of helped you in preparations for this? You know what exactly they're looking for in a set?
I feel like we understood why we lost that set, which is the biggest thing when you lose, right? You learn from it. But overall, I don't think it really matters if we lost first or second. I don't think anyone has a ton of momentum going into this. It should just be whoever comes out faster.
So this is going to be the one I was telling you. I had a couple questions prepared, and this is the one I think you won't like. Last time you were in the booths, it was a 7-game set. It was an awesome set, but you end up falling down to Kanga, and it was kind of a rough way, I would say, to end the season. So what did that do, like, in contributing to how you want to perform at MSI and kind of the grind behind the scenes for the last week and a half?
I mean, the whole second half of that split was kind of not good, you know. But we think we have righted the wrongs. We're confident going in, so hopefully we can pull it out, yeah.
Well, I'm feeling a different level of confidence in that answer and what I was hearing right before. But either way, I think you guys are going to be able to give us a good show. So thank you and good luck in your games. Let's get it back to the desk so we can get this kicked off.
Thank you, Gore. Cool, calm, and collected Spuds down in the Virtus.Pro booth. It's an interesting point he made because we kind of talked about how Envy had sort of a roller coaster start, but they've been trending upwards, feeling a little bit more consistent towards the end of it. And Virtus.Pro are kind of the opposite, where they came out swinging, had some good wins, but then the consistency got a little shaky towards the end. They didn't like lose out towards the end of the split or anything like that, but some cracks in the armor started to show a little bit.
Yeah, and I think what you're indirectly kind of asking here is like, what's better, to go into this on the upswing or the downswing, right? Obviously, a lot of people would say downswing, but what I think is interesting is anyone who's ever been down and out, who has that, you know, if you're a competitor and you've lost a game bad, one of the things we used to say in our soccer practices, we would say, a loss, the next thing you want to do is get out on the field again.
True.
It's like, dude, I have to wait a whole week to get back on the field. Virtus.Pro could bring that level of like, hey, man, we've not been doing great. This is freaking what we've been waiting for, a chance to prove ourselves. And they bring one of the most truly international lineups in the entire Paladins esports scene, with Bright Marsh being our first map here. And I think that this is the chance to prove that it is an experiment that is working. You know, this is the ultimate test.
It is truly the ultimate test, but it's time. It's game 1. It's Bright Marsh, Torvald, and Atlas. Those have been pretty much unplayable up to this point just because they've not been let out. We have seen a couple Torvalds. The effectiveness is, that's been left to the players to decide, some good, some bad.
It's great day 1.
Tends to be that third flex. I think that's smart, targeting not only a strong champion, but maybe making Fasheko a little bit more uncomfortable, because that's another matchup you kind of have to look at in this. We didn't highlight it necessarily pregame, but Random Noob is a very comfort champion-based player, and Fasheko in many ways is as well. So making sure that Random Noob gets comfortable in some of these games, I maybe look towards a Drogos or something similar, maybe a Bomb King here on Bright Marsh. I think it's important for Envy to look at.
I think it will be an interesting kind of mind game, because with the prevalence of how good Leon is right now, it's hard to bet on airborne blasters the same way that you normally would. But Random Noob has made adjustment after adjustment on the different champions, and one of the big ones has been Maeve. And Maeve has come in very appropriately into this meta, where she's not always gone to, just like Eevee. It's not always what you pick up. Sometimes you'll first pick a Con, sometimes a Torvald, sometimes a Genos. But if you can, they're performing really well for nearly everyone who picks them up. And so it's a serious threat to consider.
I can get us out of here alive.
Barrack and Ash have sort of honestly risen to the top, where, you know, Con normally slots into that 4th ban, but when he's picked, the enemy team tends to answer back with one or the other, and in this case, both, because they're two champions that can duel out and sometimes win against Con. I think the overpower is a really big driving force on why Con is so good.
Yeah.
But we've kind of seen some inconsistent overpowers over the course of this weekend. And it's almost seemed like more misses than hits in general, not even just one specific matchup, but it's not been as automatic as you might hope.
100%.
So that's one big thing to look at. I assume that'll be Rubu on the Con. He'll have his hands full with the Barrack Ash on the opposite side. Tulki, of course, maybe an Inara coming through for him later on. Very comfortable, but getting Rock Monkey on this Cassie, I think is a good start for Envy.
I think it is a great start, and I think this is something that...
There's your Maeve.
You know, when you look at Envy, it fits right in, and when you're not really feeling a Drogos, BK's been in and out. It's Bright Marsh, great map for him, but he's just been in and out. I think the mobility is just more valued at this point. It's not so much of a sit-back meta. There's a lot of champions who can get to the BK and then get away, which is why Maeve is a little bit better to take rather than play against, and so she raises higher in the draft hierarchy. VP now, really good front lines for them.
Yeah.
This is exactly where, you know, they're going to feel comfortable kind of setting up for Do and for Puleule. And the idea is that Sadak, Hecate, they were on the same team, forgive me. Hecate is going to have his pick of the litter right now.
Yeah,
he's got
absolutely.
Leon available to him. And there's also a lot of flexibility to, if you see some craziness from Fish, will Pip be in the mix? This is something I'd like definitely keep an eye on, especially on Bright Marsh.
Yeah, Simsalu in our last matchup showed what Pip can do. Normally we're used to talking about Bittner playing the Pip. Such a potent champion. If you get a good player on that Pip, really changes things around. Liana is going to come through here for Hecate. Again, the word potent, I think, comes to my mind when you look at that. It's a champion where some tweaks have been made. It's much more niche where a comfortable player can still play a Leon to carry potential, and you know, Bittner showed a little bit of that earlier today. It's not as mainstream.
Showed that. We gotta show
as well.
some love to him. He was unbelievable, best Leon of the tournament, I think.
And I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree at all. And you put a Genos mark on top of that. Hecate has the potential here to change this game around. This Rock Monkey Cassie versus Hecate Leon duel is going to be some fun. I'm excited to watch how it all plays out.
I feel like this actually is in favor of Envy right now. I think that Rock and Random Noob on these champions, it's just a really dangerous setup, and Tolkien just doesn't make mistakes. He's just one of those guys that doesn't make mistakes. And he may have an underwhelming day. He may not be as aggressive as he can be, but he is not that guy that's going to consistently miss overpowers or make incorrect decisions for his squad. I mean, I could see a Pip here. I really could. You could also...
I think it would make sense. I mean...
You could see a Drogos from Fish as well, because it is in his wheelhouse also. But, I mean, this last pick, I think Pip really does well against both of these front lines.
I mean, Inara, highest health pool in the game, suddenly doesn't matter if you get smacked with an evil mojo if the ultimates are swinging around. It's going to be the Bomb King instead for Fasheko. The 67% win rate is going to get put to the test. You gave an initial edge to Envy with a few picks left to go.
Definitely.
All 10 locked in. Do you still feel the same way?
I think they have a great lineup. I mean, the Genos is, you never know, but I think that Envy are going to be able to control the pace of this fight a lot better than Virtus.Pro. Unless Puleule pops off. Right. And Ash can do that. We've seen Shoulder Bash, we've seen Slug Shot, most likely a Shoulder Bash for the Battering Ram, for this one, but it's going to be a heck of a set. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun. We got to get it underway, but before we can do that, Nick Kresnik, take it away.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm excited to wrap the day up here with another PPL versus PPL set. Though I don't know how it could live up to what we just saw. I mean, that upset was incredible. This one's going to have to be a full 5-game banger, I think, to have a hope.
Yeah, but I think this game is really going to set the tone for the rest of the set. Both teams got drafts they're pretty comfortable with. Really not a lot of, like, strange picks, I think, across the board. Maybe you could say Furia for Hayes, but, I mean, he's been playing long enough where he can play pretty much anything, right?
Barely, yeah. I mean, he's played a whole lot of supports in his day. Envy, I would say, play closer on the spectrum to more of a Na'Vi style, and VP is somewhere in the middle. They've spent the majority of this phase coming together as one of the 2 international squads in the Premier League, just kind of trying to figure out what is our style, what is the way that we play. They have a lot of star power here in the back line, in the front line, on the support role. Frankly, a lot of guys that have been very successful at LAN, offline, everything but world championships for everyone on Virtus.Pro.
This is the first real, like, high-pressure tournament they've been in. I mean, the PPL is high pressure, but this is, like, this is it. Losing, you're out, you know? Otherwise, losing, your record goes down, but hopefully that won't be a problem for them. Is Hecate actually getting pinched? Really, really good rotation from Tolkien to catch him out. VP already starting on the back foot. Boy is going to have to back up. Might be able to get away if he can manage to avoid some CC.
The guys dash pretty early. Random Noob gets tracked down by Puleule and Fasheko in the back line. Random Noob, Rock happy to box out with this Ash. 30% on the point for Team Envy, but it is far from out of the woods just yet. Makate syncs up with Ash once more, and the fight begins again.
Yeah, Rubo contesting the left side here, keeping a lot of zone, not really letting Makate get what he wants, but he has to back up as Fishigo picks off Toki. Rubo backing up, the dash coming in from Pule a little bit ahead of his DPSs, but Fish manages to find the pincer. VP taking back control. Rock gets the pick here though, so Fish is going to have to play really, really cautious while they get their cap.
I mean, pixel-perfect angles here from Fishigo. Not really exposing himself, but the bombs still make it around the corner. The fresh cut, the fresh play. Virtus.Pro looking good so far, but this one has remained close the entire time. 54 for Envy, 72 for Virtus.Pro on the objective. The fight continues to rage.
Yeah, Rock Monkey contesting the left here with Rubu also. Rock Rubu, such a great duo, and they're showing their potency as they push through, pressuring Hakate out. Might be able to get away just barely. Rock actually missing a few crucial shots into the Bomb King, but he's not able to find any confirms. Fish coming back to duel him, getting pressured out. Hopefully has a somersault reset to be able to get out. Still, 99% on the objective for Virtus.Pro. Still contention coming through. Rubu using his con shield as a sustain, but might get burned up by the time in space. Barely manages to avoid it. Fishigo still laying in damage, but it looks like Envy's finding the better section
So
in this
many
fight.
ults back and forth they go, but Envy remain tall when it's all said and done. Still 2 ultimates left in hand for VP. You gotta say, if they could have got those off, that could have been a very different story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they just couldn't find the confirms there. Envy really managed to rotate back and get the cap time, find the picks they needed with their tank pressure.
Frankly, I think Rock kind of gave them a chance, you know what I mean? Like, he was missing a couple of things. The blast shot combo around the corner, you're right, he was live the whole time. Sort of looked like he was going to roll away from that one. It was very close on the objective, but has been anything but on this offense. Envy are already halfway with just under 30 seconds on this offense.
Yeah, super, super clean wipe. VP needing to reset. Just dive to the cart. You don't want to die when it's at that corner. If you die there, then you're at the weird situation where now your tanks kind of have to feed. They can't take that positioning on the side by the windows. It's just not a good place for you to be, so I think you played the stagger smart there.
Well, plenty of time left on the clock, plenty of ultimates left in the tank. Midnight seismic crash at the same time. Fishy, not long for this world. Blind, stunned, deaf and dumb. He goes back to base. One more for Tolki. That's 2 for nothing. Akate manages to answer one back, but the pincer, it closes the noose. It tightens, and Envy prime themselves to take this first round 2-0.
Just too much HP on the Inara Khan. They couldn't find a pick once the initial staggers came in. Great initiation, I think, from Envy there. Seismic crash, Midnight. It's hard to deal with. When you don't know where the damage is coming from, how do you do anything? You know, you can yeet blind bombs across the map all day, but if you're not seeing a 900 on the first 2, you're not going to find anything.
Well, the first ultimates in the first round oftentimes decide which way the payload goes. Envy got a lot of them off. The Inflame, the Scout, all very impactful stuff. A lot of things online, like I said. This Assert Dominance just barely came online, like as Pule Ule died, so that's really the big reason why he's not able to get it off. I'm sure he would have loved to if he could have, but that's spilt milk at this point. Envy 2-0 up on Brightmarsh. Metapusher said if they get this first game convincingly, this set is theirs.
Yeah, an Inflame up for them too. A really, really solid ultimate at the start. But I mean, VP has all their ultimates. It's really going to be on Envy to know what's coming and to counter it. We'll see. Looks like Rubu's probably looking to charge on the left for his overpower. Really
Let me ask you this. Into the morale boost already for Mr. Hayes. Not Cauterize, not Wrecker, not Resilience, none of that. Is he saying this game is over this round? I'm going to spend my morale boost and just try and get something online when we end this game?
He's saying that if we win this game, it's going to be because of the power of my Inflames.
Okay. There it is. 2 kills for Virtus.Pro, though. Things do not go Envy's way despite the Inflame, despite the Scout. A lot used to get that payload converted, but with still a King Bomb, still a time and space, and comeback mechanic roaring them forward. Grasnick, you wanted that one to land, man.
I flinched a little bit.
I saw it in your bones. 97% though, the final tick range true. Virtus.Pro will answer back and get themselves on the board. Not blown out on Brightmarsh.
Yeah, I mean, the disengage from Envy was good, but you can't really make it back with double comeback. If you want to, it kind of has to be 0-0 on the point. And you need some of those better retake champions, but not having the Ashe. Their best toucher is Maeve, and I think it's too easy to catch her coming in with crowd control.
A lot of mobility. They have, you know, good front lines to zone with. Double hit scan to poke people off their horses. Of course, Ashe. Honestly, man, it's been a good day for Ashe, I have to say. Good day for Leon as well. It's a brawl here. And just to clarify the situation, Envy are on defense right now, but they are pushed deep into Virtus.Pro territory, giving them a run for their money, not making a single inch of this push easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the new things in the meta now. Teams really didn't used to do this quite as much, this like really, really aggressive defense, unless the game was dominant. But if you can take a minute off the timer, it makes your last-ditch defense so much easier. The sooner it's in overtime for the defending team, the better. You can make much easier checkmate situations.
And I think the core of the thought is that even if we die all the way over here, by the time we're respawned and ready to go, we're defending from where we would have been defending from anyway.
Exactly.
It's a lossless situation. Overpower makes for a clean kill, a clean 2 kills now defensively for Team Envy. That's a big ultimate to spend for it, but it's one that they're happy to expend there. It's so clean. I think Overpower is the best ultimate in the game. You land it, it feels like it's basically a guaranteed pick, and it's fairly, frankly, quick to charge, especially with Storm of Bullets being the meta selection for Khan.
I think Overpower is really the best ult in the game right now. I think one of the few ones that contested was Leviathan,
Ancient Rage. Yeah.
Before the big game kind of resurgence.
Sure.
Now I think Overpower is it's just so good. Across the entire map, getting a pick, and oh my, just absolute steamrolling from Envy here on this defense. Inflame, so influential. I think another ultimate, honestly, in contention for one of the best. Especially, maybe not in like a public game, but in team play, it's just such a big boost to your team, and it makes it so much easier to push and sync up.
I mean, pretty much every shot is a percent. If you watch Rubu's ultimate charge, when he's able to actually damage HP and not shooting shields, he's just done the Iron March towards full charge. Looks like he's running a little bit of Hope Guard as well. I noticed a big old juicy heal from Furia when that shield was up. Rock and Rube lose their lives, the Purity Boys fall, but Team Envy get that defensive point, and they will move ahead 3-1. Comeback mechanic still enabled for VP.
You calling him a Rube? I think that's an insult.
Ruby Scooby.
I think that's an insult in some 1940s English that I'm not completely privy to.
Hell, you know better than me at that point.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up later. But actually, I really liked the ult management from Envy there, because they use Ruby's ult early. They'll charge it. It was like a minute and 20 left on the clock. That's plenty of time to charge a Khan ult if he's being aggressive.
Yeah.
And then they use Haze's ult later to get the next repush. Great staggering of the ultimates, and since they use Haze so close to the clock running out, I mean, he's building morale boost. He's the one who's going to get his ult again before anybody else on his team. He's already 62%.
He might beat Rubu, to be honest. If he's already at morale boost 2, and he is, he's going to be charging that very quickly, not only doing damage reliably with Furia, but healing as well. Scout, the first of many ultimates to come in this round. Vision granted to everyone on Team Envy. No kills just yet, but Kate's actually in kind of an awkward spot.
Yeah, he's completely caught in this corner thanks to Random's pressure, but it looks like they're actually... VP, ooh, what? Through time and space, catches Haze, I think, on a rotation out. VP looking really strong on this fight. Some bombs from across the map. Poulet's going to trade his life over on the side, but it's going to just a complete clean wipe for VP.
Solid stuff there from VP. Frankly, that time and space was much later after the assert dominance. Given that the kill followed up so quickly, I'm surprised they were able to get it done there. Same story as round 2, though. Comeback mechanic, a clean team fight. It's Virtus.Pro. They're going to get that payload. This is supposed to be on paper a pretty quick set. After what we've seen today, though, I don't know who the hell to root for anymore at this point. I mean, you guys obliterated Kanga, Penta obliterated Na'Vi. Seems to be the theme of the day. I'm just not sure who it's going to be this time around.
It's going back and forth, but not looking back and forth right now. Looks like VP wants to continue the pressure they had in the beginning. We were trying to come in to find a kill on Fish, but the healing from the card, the loadouts there. Ooh, that was a little spicy.
That was close, man. BK's got a pretty good matchup with Khan.
Yes.
Snagged by the Commander's grab, but still, it just hits so hard. That matchup is really never over until you kill the King. He could always be able to bark back, even with minimal HP. Plenty of time on the clock, but not a lot of room left to give. This is sort of the final stand for Team Envy. VP have the potential to tie this one up.
Yeah, and great wall by Tulky there, by the way, to catch in Poulet and Fish on the side, which should signal the start of Envy's counter-aggression here. Looks like Random a little ahead. Mave's basically a pseudo-tank. It's one of the tankiest flanks. I mean, now that Buck is kind of out of the story a little bit, the DR on Mave's kit across the board kind of
Let's take a look at that Mave loadout while you kind of talk about this and just run us through why you're making that point about her being so tanky.
Mentions the DR in the build. 20% damage reduction on Prowl, 25% after Pounce. There's a moment where it'll stack if you do the Pounce, reset Pounce to try to get away. I believe diminishing it puts
it's going to be a heavy DR. Yeah.
%, which I think was what Buck's DR was on that build before the nerf.
Yeah, Deep Breath.
The Deep Breath 5.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can see, like I said, she's kind of filling Buck's place, but also has a lot more utility and range than Buck ever did.
Yeah, Midnight, speak of the devil, he shall appear. The clock strikes, Midnight blinded for the most part. Virtus.Pro, nowhere to see this Maeve coming. Genos is going to kind of throw some hands here with Maeve. Gets it down to 20 HP. Fatty heal from Furia. Back to full HP and a single right click. Random Noob is happy to continue to throw these daggers. One of the unique aspects of Maeve, no fall-off damage. She is a flank. She likes to get up in your face. She does better up in that territory. And she can't be effective from across the map as well.
Yeah, that's always been her niche, I think, on maps like Fish and things like that. She was, when she wasn't meta, she was even being played there. Yeah, exactly. You're not just sitting there waiting like on your mount, taunting around the corner.
Yeah.
You can definitely do that sometimes, but just being able to poke for 800 across the map, I mean, that's more than Cassie will do.
That is a big boy play from Maeve. Fishy finds a consolation frag as we head to a 3-2 scenario. Envy would be able to close the game out here. You have to win a game of Paladins with an offensive action, be that capturing a payload, be that converting a payload. You cannot win on a defense, so Envy will have to find their way home via one of those two options.
Yeah, this is one of the better rounds for them to do it. I mean, against double comeback, it's really hard because, like I mentioned, they really don't have a lot of retake potential, especially since they're using their Midnight so early, and that's more or less the only thing that's going to give them the option to touch. In Archon, not really one of those like suicide bomb kind of tanks to pull that off.
Fist bumps go out for Virtus.Pro.
They're ready.
Feeling good. Pretty even credit spread here. Both these teams have captured, defended, pushed, all that and above. A lot of resiliences, plenty of items across the board. Time and space, ultimate economy relatively equal. 9 ultimates of the 10.
Scout coming in too, maybe trying to get a setup play, but it looks like the counter's coming in first. Seismic Crash and Inflame through time space catches Rock on the rotation. Was staring at the targets with the Inflame, trying to do the damage a little bit too much. VP looking dominant in this fight so far.
That might be a way for them to get in and get it done. 3-2, it's a half comeback mechanic, but with these stagger kills coming through, I don't know, it's going to be tough for Envy to get back, especially if Rocket's picked off a second time, and he will. That probably just about going to do it. Rips Fishy through the window. Overpower, maybe out of frustration. Counter Poppy. Fishy don't even die. This Fishy's not swimming today. He's going to hop around on land, flop around, still fragging, and Virtus.Pro confidently take the payload and now have the chance to end this game.
Yeah, and it's looking really good for them. Their mids have been really solid. I mean, they were very patient there. They let Rubu come in when he was close. That's when they wanted to execute. Had to use his dash to get out. Got them really, really good time in space, actually. I think caught him after a roll.
He like just strafed into it, bro.
It looked like he was distracted with the Inflame.
He was distracted by something. Clearly, Rock's eyes not on the prize there. I think not even Vex was trying to get that type of a read. He saw people start to fade to the left in that little choke point in between main and apartment, and he just lined it up, and Rock kind of gave him a little bit of a gift there, if I'm being honest. From where I'm sitting, that felt like a little luck.
Wrapped up in a little bow.
Yeah.
From Rock to Vex with love.
He gave it his all, his life on the line. Envy's first game on the line now. They felt so dominant so early with the 2-0 start. But Virtus.Pro have just fought back tooth and nail. It could all come to an end here.
Yeah, the pick on Pule was really good for them, but Doe manages to trade it on this side. Actually, Random going down to the Inflame might be a little bit too late. He needs to focus on protecting Toki, having to sit in the open. Finds the kill onto Fish in the window, but the wall gets up just in time to keep him alive. Time and space might want to be used here just to put on more pressure, but it looks like he's going to hold on to it.
AB, Toki goes down before he can get Seismic Crash off, and now the story has flipped completely. No tank ultimates for Virtus.Pro, but they are getting it done regardless. Frags on the left, in the back, in the front. Time and space still clips Khan. Give me them ankles as he leaves Virtus.Pro digging their heels, and they bounce back in game 1.
Yeah, wow, that was a really solid last fight for them.
That's huge, man.
He could have used that early, just wanted to do the assault rifle pressure. That ult on the Khan just made that confirm so fast. Khan can live so long if you let him.
Yeah.
Since they saved that for that, since he knew the Ynar had no DR, was going to burn quick, just great ult usage from Virtus.Pro.
Thankfully, Envy are a tough team, but today, more than ever, these are best of 5s. This is not what these PPL teams are used to playing. And I would say Fish is probably one of the more prone to tilt players in the league. So getting this first win, in my opinion, is huge for Virtus.Pro. This was Envy's map pick. They're the higher seed. We've seen this story before. Penta just brewed up an upset with a start like this. Let's get it back to the desk and keep this one moving.
Meta Pusher says in his interview,
excuse me,
game 1, so important.
So
but,
important.
Doesn't come up in their favor. Almost did. Things were looking good, but
That's what's
Virtus.Pro
scary.
turn it around, end up finding the win, game 1.
You know, Dave, it's just a scary situation for Envy fans right now because you've got them, and you could really take that first game, which you already know is so important, and that's what sucks to lose it because you're like, man, we were just talking about how we would really need to win this, and now we haven't. Plan B. And Virtus.Pro, they're like, man, we just got the momentum, the comeback. It's the last thing you want to give a team like this who plays so much off of that momentum in the first place.
And you look at the damage numbers that were down there. Only Rock Monkey throwing his name into that top 4 mix, but 4 members of Virtus.Pro. Everyone but the healer on top of the damage charts except for Rock Monkey that time around, and things were just going so well for them. Rubu started off the game so comfortable, so in control. Random Noob as well. I think he was 7-3 at one point, and then went 2-4 basically throughout the rest of the game. And
unbelievable.
Fasheko on the Bomb King. I mean, we said,
Such
maybe a Drogos comes out XYZ, but it ends up being the Bomb King, and he performs.
Such a great pick. Turns out to be such a great pick in the way that Envy are playing him. And a lot of the issues is that mobility is typically in favor of the Maves, of the Eevees. And this is a map where you can use mobility to get in and get out. And Bomb King has burst mobility, but that's it. It's limited. But what was so amazing is stuff like this, that he's overperforming for the character, and he's also preempting what they want to do because he plays those flanks just as well, and he's now putting himself in the driver's seat. It's Bomb King with an advantage is pretty much a dead champion that he's going against.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time.
Luminary Genos with the Bomb King.
See you later.
I saw a hit for 1035.
Speaking of Genos, Dave, did you see that Through Time and Space Vex hit?
I did, and it was spicy.
A solo. I mean, and he had to guess. That's the type of stuff that we were hoping he would bring today, and he has.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, little moments like that. I mean, you eye in on a support and you say, your eyes are back in the battlefield. You heal me, you give me a mark, you maybe call some things out. But playing champions with the potential for individual performances, that's so important, and that immediately sets a fight up on in favor. The Inflame comes out from Envy. You're thinking they have the advantage.
Unreal.
And then just boinks him right around the corner. Crazy from Vex.
You see how Rock got so caught off guard from that?
Wait, what?
I mean, that's just, listen, you know what? You don't expect it, but I've seen this in life time and time again. People who make those types of sacrifices, it shows up. You don't know when, you don't know how, but it shows up because they give up everything. They burn their ships. It's a great story of when you go to war, one of the commanders went and burned all the ships of his own people so they could not retreat. And they said, what the heck? That's how we get out of here. He said, now that you know there's no retreat, we got to go win this war.
You got to fight. You got to fight for your life in this case, and it works out for Virtus.Pro. They go down early, find the win here in game number 1, and striking first. You sort of mentioned it coming back into this segment, but especially in these best of 5s, they win this next one. It's already set point. I mean, before Envy have had a chance to recoil, really, and find their way back into it, they're already backs against the wall just after one game.
And that's what makes it so imperative to win game 1. Not only do you end up giving yourself the ability to essentially choose the decider map if it goes to, obviously, game 3 and you get tied up at game 2, or it goes to game 5 and, obviously, it goes the distance. But what it also gives you is immense pressure in game 2 regardless. Even if it's their map pick, they know that they go down 2-0, it's a reverse sweep or bust. And that's hard against any PPL team. I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Knights who aren't here. Look at the Renegades. You can't guarantee that you're actually going to be able to get a reverse sweep against any team of this caliber with players like this. So, Virtus.Pro, Hecate.
I mean, that's...
What do you call that? Meditating?
Yeah.
Asking?
I think. Whatever it is.
The Holy Spirit.
That's right. They're, they got what they asked for. Game 1, they asked for a little bit of a turnaround, and they got it. And that was Envy's map pick, notably. Envy took us to Brightmarsh, and Virtus.Pro took it. Now it's Virtus.Pro's map pick with a game in the pocket already. Cassie's going to be their flex ban in this case. Envy with second ban, or second pick, I should say. Yeah, that's where you can maybe see a little flexibility. You give away one if you know you're going to get maybe another back, but it's going to be the Khan first pick here for Virtus.Pro. It was smart last time for Envy, and it looked good to start off, but Virtus.Pro get him this time.
I'm going to let the draft go by while I bring up a greater point for this tournament, and we'll touch on it after a few picks have gone in. But one of the things this tournament provides is the ability for people to take on the task at hand. A lot of teams, I think, who get out of this, especially big-name teams, might be a little upset at the format style, saying, listen, man, I only got to play 3 games. I'm out. Like, but we should have had more. It's best of 7. This is all the money on. All that. Okay, but what about the team that took that task and owned it and got 3 in a row on you? This is not a long-distance race, which some of our other tournaments in the PPL have been a lot of times. This is a sprint. You have to change your game plan. And Virtus.Pro right now look really good heading towards a sprint. The Barrack, the Ashe, I like from Envy. It's a very strong start, but there's still a Genos on the table for VP. Why not?
I mean, Virtus.Pro, they heard the flare gun shoot off, and they started sprinting off the blocks the moment it happened, answering back in the same way that they did last game. Our Envy this time, Ashe and Barrack, looking to control a little bit. Barrack is so good on Stone Keep most maps anyway, but controlling that space around the point, of course, very important. And then lots of good areas for the assert dominance for, I'm assuming that'll be Rubu as well. So Envy, I mean, with only 3 picks in, you can only insinuate so much. The front lines don't necessarily always tell the entire story, but set themselves up very well here. And Eevee for Virtus.Pro was banned out last time, and they get the Genos. That has the same potency as like a Bomb King Genos.
It's scary, because now Fishy is on a highly mobile champion in a map that is more linear and is more really, I think, dangerous to traverse under pressure. You have to have a champion like Eevee to get from high ground to low ground, and then out of trouble if she gets into it. Bomb King is going to make one of those moves, and he's going to have to fight where he is. He's great at doing that, albeit, but he's going to have to fight where he is. The only difference is now maybe Envy understand that BK could be a real big asset. It's one of Random Noob's go-to bread and butter picks, so this may come out for them now that they've seen it in action.
And you have to choose here. I agree. I think Bomb King would be a good pick for Random Noob. He's good on the Drogos as well, so you kind of have to choose which direction you want to go about it. I mean, if you show that you're going I would imagine, since they'll have one final flex pick, maybe the Blaster will wait till 5th to try to avoid too much counterplay.
Right.
The next time you
but it
see
really
my
is, do we
banners,
want to
run.
run you down with a Bomb King in some of these smaller areas, the Keep and the Church on the opposite side, or do we want to utilize his mobility, find somebody hard to hit? Because now Virtus.Pro, they don't know which direction they're going to go. And of course, there's many more options other than just Drogos and Bomb King. But if you look at sort of mobility versus planted blaster damage, Virtus.Pro have to kind of find an answer that can go either way.
I think Envy now are in a great spot. Yeah. They've got really good pressure from their tanks and a lot of space to be created for the Leon. And Eevee now is under a lot more pressure because of that cleave. This is something that performs so well for the console teams. Slopadopoulos in particular, who was phenomenal. Big shout-outs to our console pros who just are pros. Let's just put it that way. After this tournament, we can say that. And the Inara, it's good for the point. I like Envy and controlling high ground a little bit here, but the Victor is the real swing. If he can perform, it'll be a really big boon.
And not even just the console players. I remember a performance that rings out to me was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was definitely Renegades, but it might have been the last time Renegades played Space Station Gaming when they went 7, and Vocal on this map on Victor up in the high ground had their performance of a lifetime, and he really carried that game through for the Renegades, so I think he's a good pick, and he's a pick on this map that can perform very well. They go with the Maeve, so honestly, kind of a mix between like a Bomb King and a Drogos. That's sort of a difference, but Maeve over to Random Noob this time.
I just don't think that they're in the space to... I mean, I know why they're picking Maeve. There's a lot of mobility. It's really hard for Eevee to secure kills on Maeve versus BK because they could just distract each other, and that would leave Ashe and Barrack and Leon and Damba a lot of time against a Victor, Khan, and Nara and Genos, which, you know, they wouldn't have damage in their favor. They wouldn't have pressure in their favor. Khan would have to contribute so much. I don't know if I see it. The big things I'll be looking out for: Victor's performance, how much can Pulele contain, and Leon, Rock Monkey, he's going to have the huge task of shutting down, or at least trying to limit what Fasheko can do.
It's all on to Random Noob to make some uncomfortable players over on the side of Virtus.Pro. It's going to be a fun one. In a best of 5, Envy, they need to find the answer back right now. Casters, it's game 2. It's down to you.
Thank you, gentlemen. This is certainly going to be a good one with VP stealing away the first map of the set. Trezor, you got something to say about that?
I actually have something to tell to you. I received a DM from a good friend, Anthony, QA analyst for Evil Mojo.
The boy.
He told me that a Rube is an 1891 word for an
Rube.
awkward, unsophisticated person.
An awkward,
Are you going to do my boy Rubu like that?
unsophisticated person. I would never do the HRX Grand Finals MVP. Iris Expo, Ryan, Rubu Wong, that dirty.
Yeah.
It
well,
would just be
The battle has
It would
in
be
my
wrong.
best interest.
we are seeing Cardio Victor.
Cardio!
In fact, he's sprinting just to show us, I think. This is interesting with the comp they have because they only have the Genos heals. I think he just wants the extra sustain.
Gotta have it, baby. You gotta have it. And that little indicator with that cheeky little face. Whenever he sprints, you'll notice the little green cross. He's full health now, so you won't see any actual healing numbers associated with it, but there it goes. Just one less target Genos has to worry about. And Akate, he knows hit scan better than anyone in the game, I would wager. Very comfortable on this character. Ran it, whether ironically or unironically. I mean, he knows what he's doing on this guy.
Yeah, just being able to prevent himself from being dove is going to be huge
Nice
for
ball.
them. It's going to be huge for them because otherwise it's a lot of pressure on Pule, and this actually lets Pule get a little bit more aggressive without worrying so much about keeping Ash off of Hagata.
Well, plugging away at this Ash's HP. First blood, but frankly, not a lot gained. So close to taking down Leon there. A grenade would have done it, but it was on cooldown, unfortunately. You see him just running back and forth to keep himself healthy because that's how cardio works. Another Grey goes out to the objective. Really good job putting pressure on the point. And there's a big frag from Pacheco.
Yeah, finding a really open area on the right side. No one really blocking him. That's because they're all,
you gotta
they're
hit
all sitting
those.
up in the keep. Looks like you just need to hit them. His Pule is going to make a lot of room for him, catching him out. Leon pressured out. Oh, Ash moves her dominance too, landing barely on the point. Just manages to get the touch at the last second. Now VP have to just sustain because the captain won't mean anything.
Just barely. Sustain is the name of the game here. Pacheco's got it. Blinks back up. Quick reload. Slither off the high ground, looking for the support. Wants the blink. Finds it, but not the shot. Missing a couple here, but Pacheco is getting his job taken care of when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. Ice block really good to block some damage coming in from Random there. Random having to rotate away, sitting lower. Keep Envy with point control. It's on VP to touch the point. Do they manage to do it? The Ice Storm does not stop that.
Where's that overpower? Where's that seismic crash? VP still have ultimates, but they can't get there in time. I don't believe it. I feel like Envy hasn't gotten a kill for so long. Pull up the slash lines. I mean, Virtus.Pro felt like, to me, they dominated that fight.
It's the retouch potential. They have a really similar comp to what Envy had last map, but they don't have those tanks that can kind of suicide in. Joe just got stopped. He couldn't make it.
Tough stuff there for Virtus.Pro. So much mobility, so much in and out. Overall, I mean, Virtus.Pro, what can you say, Kresnik? I mean, they got the kills. It just, we're not able to convert that into a lot of objective time.
Fish was just too worried about upper. He had to be the one to touch. He had to fling his ice block onto the point, but he just was being dealt with, trying to stop Rubu from retouching, I guess, for the overtime. Either way, it just ended up being Envy's point.
Well, it's all spilt milk at this point. Fair enough. Both sides played valiantly, but it is Envy that comes away with this first payload. This is Virtus.Pro's map selection. Remember that. Remember also that this is a best of 5 if Virtus.Pro go up 2-0 here. So far, that has boded very well for anyone who's managed to do it. Penta upsetting Na'Vi. Fish in and out on this Eevee. Eevee's been good, like I said. It's gotten done what it set out to do, but there is room for improvement, and I say that with love. I say that with probably being the loudest opinion that Fish is the best Eevee in the world. I don't know if that's a groundbreaking
I think that's
opinion
just
at
like
this
of
point,
a high. I think that's just your respect for Fish being so high, right? Like you've seen him have these insane.
He could be better, you know. Like it's the little things, like shooting Mr. Hayes and looking away, and then that shot misses, and it's like, oh, you know, that little stuff. Might not matter now, but in those tense 3-3s, high-pressure situations, a lot along the line, like, I don't know, the MSI or something like that, those matter.
I mean, it's actually good that VP is showing up here, because, I mean, they had some issues in some of the lower pressure sets throughout the PPL, but...
Run, boy, run!
He's
run,
still
Forrest!
Oh, man, watching him, I was actually laughing while you were talking because he was just sprinting into a wall. I'm like, yep, this does look a little bit like some Pub Victors I've played with, but obviously Akate, as far from Pub Victor as you can get, his aim is on point. Unlike theirs...
It's the Pub Victor final form, baby. He's very experienced.
How many Pub Victor candies did I make?
I mean, bro, he used to do this in the PGS back when that was a thing, and he just dominated everyone. So say what you will, the guy has played it before. 4 seconds on the clock. Kind of the story of the offense here. Envy has struggled to get it going, but it's going nonetheless. 2 more kills Doseps, he's going to get a dome shield out of it, throws it at the wall.
It was
Happy to get that.
Interesting choice of the dome shield because the card is pretty far, and since they have a Nara Khan, that's a lot of sustain that will still be able to push the point. Fish really has to stay alive here for this last fight. VP has enough time to get the respawns and get on the card.
Yep, 3 seconds on Doe, 3 seconds on Pule at this point. They're coming back in force. 5 ultimates strong. Envy with 4 ultimates. This one is in striking distance. A win here for Team Envy would mean a converted payload. They have the assert dominance. It's a great ultimate for where VP are positioned, but Fishy stays alive, trades 1 for 1. That's in favor of the defense.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I don't think they're going to be using any ultimates to attack this, unless they want to use the assert dominance here, but picks are coming in for VP. It's not looking so good for Envy's chances to convert here.
Rock Monkey chipping away. It's a barrage spent, but it charges so quickly. I mean, think about when Dome Shield was spent. That's back to 35%. Think about just seeing Barrage. Barrage is back to 23%.
Did he cancel the last charge?
I don't think so. I don't know if he did. He might have. I mean, it's a quick charging ultimate, especially in the later stages of the game. Gets a lot of free poke there. Maeve nowhere to be found because guess who killed him? Fisheko takes care of business. It's a domino effect, man. When Fishy can kill Maeve and Victor can do his thing, it's like it's really all a conjoined unit and a joined composition that has similar goals.
Yeah, absolutely. They really needed to do something about Fish in the backline, but you can't really chase an Eevee that far away.
Caught 3 after 1 round, bro. 2 people have caught 3 after 1 round. That's tough.
Yeah, that's the, I mean, the cap point credit
advantage. It took so long,
The cap point credit advantage is huge, and that was a really long overtime, too. I mean, I'm not too surprised that they would be able to
That's
get
a 7-minute first round, dude. We've seen games end faster than that.
That is wild. Count?
That is crazy. That's the part. That's why you're seeing it, folks. Nice ice storm here, lockdown, but it's a 2 for 1, man. I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Nice shot there from Fish. Can't quite get the kill. Rock has just been living by the skin of his teeth today, and he's cashing in on all that luck. I hope he doesn't run out.
Getting the Midnight out of the way is really big, I think, for VP, especially on their retouch. Fish also being alive over here. He is the best retoucher since their tanks are gone. It looks like a
that sounded like it missed.
Overpower. It was. Unfortunate for them. They do still have the retouch. Actually, Doe might be the one to go for it. Walls out Tulsi. Gets a little bit of room while there's a Con and an Ash trade up.
Dome is getting close to being fully charged, north of 80% now. Envy have just Enlightenment to lean on. 1 for 1 trade, 2 for 1 trade in favor of Envy. Rock makes it a 3 for 1. Mr. Hayes a 4 for 1, and Fishy goes scurrying away. Just keep swimming, my boy, because there is no chance you grab this one.
You cannot ignore a Leon on this map. The ability to rotate across the entire map. Nowhere is safe, and if Rock Monkey's on that champion, it's even more so. You just cannot get away. And their Fish is about to find that out, but he has to run away first.
Swimming with tail between his legs time and time again. That's kind of the plight of the Eevee, man. Sometimes it happens that way. You're off trying to get a solo kill somewhere, and if the fight falls apart elsewhere, nice little oopsie daisy there from Doseps. Ash goes flying by, but Doe might be in a bad spot regardless. Thankfully, his team is there to trade it out.
Yeah, it looks like actually Fish came back in on the side and get really good picks on the back line. Rubu now alive.
Well, that worked.
You can say that. Thank you. That was a great pinch from Pule and Fish. I know sometimes they've had communication issues in the past, and just them being able to sync up there with Fish's refight shows that things have been improving for VP as the season goes on, you know? Communication issues maybe getting evened out. I know that was a problem even as recently as these last couple weeks.
Let's look at damage charts. Where is young Rockicus Monkicus sitting at the moment? About 10K above the next closest member. He is just doing his best Harry Potter impression right now, being the boy who lived multiple times. Fishy waits it out. Enlightenment is no good. Hits a big old block of ice. He's happy to get that soaring away now, chased down by Ash.
Definitely extra happy, too, that didn't get it confirmed.
Is he trying to grab? I don't know. It's tough to say because we didn't get to see the overpower, but
yeah.
Who do you think he was trying to grab there?
I mean,
I'm getting frustrated. Personally, I'm getting frustrated with Rock Mike. I'm getting him the hell out of my face.
Pule's, I think he might have been going for a tank around a corner.
Okay.
Like, because that's the risky thing. Like, you see a tank ADing, you're like, I'll get him when he peeks again, and then he just doesn't peek again.
Yeah.
That's like the safe, but still kind of risky
you?
one. No, he says, yeah, I wanted to go for the Eevee. If I get the Eevee, we win. It's like, meanwhile, Ash coming in with assert dominance is like, all right, really? That's the win? That's the win, Stock?
Well,
he's definitely
yeah, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but overpower is nuts. Gotta hit those, my dudes. Oh, Puleole will certainly be looking to make that improvement in the next round. He is in a tough spot. A rock, a hard place, a tree, the stone keep.
And a flat cannon.
Figure out, pick your poison at this point. Akate's got a good angle here, back and forth, but Toki does not miss. That's 2 down. This looked like it might be an envy conversion.
Yeah, unfortunately for VP, Overpower not an ultimate that really is great when you're under pressure. I mean, if you're overpowering when you have 2 people on you, most of the time they're going to either block for their friend if you're trying to throw them off the map, or you're just going to die before you can even get it off.
Yeah.
Khan without his shield, without his shout is relatively squishy compared to other champs.
It is the one weakness of what I think is the best ultimate in the game in Overpower is that if you're, 3/4, half health, while you use it, it takes a long time for your target to get to you, and you are super vulnerable, completely defenseless, slow moving. But you got to pay some type of cost for an unmitigatable 6-second force choke. I mean, give and take here, folks.
Remember when you didn't have to aim it?
Oh, I do.
I remember.
Oh, I do. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I would like to forget. Maybe I'll stop eating Milanos.
Well, 12-4 here for Fish. Big cauterized power spike for Envy in that last one. That's something I don't want to forget about. I'd never attribute the whole round to that, but it's something I absolutely do not want to forget about.
People talk about credit advantage a lot. Good overpower. They're going to get a kill here, too. That's a good start for VP, especially since they have the point control. Rubo on the side, Seismic Crash going inside. Do they have the way to clean up on it? Yes, they do. Doe's just going to do it himself, but Fish dies to Rock Monkey on the side.
Unfortunate. Rock again, living again. He's going to live again. Enlightenment will hit one, but the grenade isn't even needed. Vex finds the cleanup shots. Virtus.Pro, comeback mechanic. Grabbing some critical. I like this from Akate. Nice little min-max. He's probably going to die for it, but he manages to grab a good, 10% or so on the objective.
It made the Ashe go a little earlier before her team gets there. Now her assert dominance is going to run out a little early. Looks like she doesn't even want to stay there. They want to put on the pressure. They don't see any other way they can win this mid, and they don't either through the Midnight.
Yeah, man, Midnight really takes toll there. You could see Vex sort of panicking, running away, slapping an Astro Mark on a full health Eevee. Rock trying to track down Fasheko again. The last man standing with a dome shield available, bro. 93-93.
And they just used the barrage too.
I think are going to go ahead and win this one. Overtime will start. Dome shield will come out. It all comes down to this.
Rock Monkey in a really strong position to spam at the point. Rubu trading with Doe, but it doesn't look like Pule's going to be able to live on the point. Akate putting damage in, but it's not really going to do much of anything. Cardio isn't going to get you very far on the point. Stone Keep goes to Envy.
Well, that's a tough one to stack up. I think Fish does a good job compared to what Random Noob does. Cardio Victor does a lot of damage, but Leon just survived so many more engagements than that Cardio Victor managed to. The front line, it's a tough battle, especially with Genos backing you up. I mean, were those the weaknesses you were seeing as well?
I think just the Ashe is too much to do with. I mean, people are, as time's going on, they're
figuring
out...
Ashe is kind of, I don't know. She's kind of slamming today, dude.
We saw her getting picked before Khan in some situations. Just the ability to cross that distance.
Everyone at this point is like looking really good on Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ashe is just almost looking better than Khan.
I'm inclined to agree with you, man. Let's get it back up to the desk and hear what they thought about Game 2.
A battle of momentum brought back to even here.
Momentum.
They strike second. Maybe they have momentum right now. Whatever it is, they win Game 2 here on Stone Keep. An interesting point they were bringing up on the cast right before throwing it to us just now is the rise of Ashe today. And not the rise in the sense that she was unprioritized and is now suddenly good.
Yeah. Don't want to make her think she was
But comparing
unimportant.
Ashe to Khan, things are almost looking a little bit more in Ashe's favor if you look at some of the matchups she's had today.
Listen, Kresnik says Ashe is better looking than Khan. I think it's undeniable. Just take a look at those portraits right there. Who you asking out on a second date, huh?
Well, you can't see through the armor of Khan.
So you're right. Mystery does play in his favor.
That's true. I mean, even at 5, 6, and 11, though, the slash line isn't as flashy as you might expect, but the shoulder bash, the area control, double stun, gets the kill on Hecate, turns around. I mean, you're eliminating the victor and then the healer.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's help from the rest of the team, but in this case, Rubu just takes it all on his shoulder, literally into his shoulder.
Yeah, literally.
And takes this one over. I mean, 5, 6, 11, like I said, it's not like that jumps out and you're like, wow, it's a beautiful game. But that doesn't tell the story, I think, of the impact that Ashe had on this one.
I think that there's just been a lot of questions as to if Cardio Victor would be the play.
That's true. Cardio
We saw a couple of tweets saying Cardio Victor, Nueva Meta, and it's not quite there, guys. I don't think so. What we really saw have the most success, be the most lethal for Victor was burst mode.
And one guy who said that in chat's feeling real called out right now.
He's feeling real called out right now. And I apologize, but sometimes things need to be said, and I said it. I think this is where you look to heading into Game 3, though, why the advantage of winning Game 1 is so important. Now, Virtus.Pro can take an L, they can learn from their mistakes, and they can still be in a great position to go ahead and take a lead in this set off of their map pick and their choice of whether they want to go first or second in the draft, which is sometimes more crucial than the map.
True. I sort of cut you off, though. I mean, looking at...
How dare you?
I know. Not sort of. I literally did cut you off. But looking at the sort of difference between Cardio Victor, burst mode...
Yeah.
Do you think maybe one of the other talents would have worked better this time around?
I think burst mode would have been what they needed. And when I looked at it, what I thought was there's just not a lot of time. There's not a lot of time for Virtus.Pro to accomplish what they want. None of those champions, especially in the damage amp, have any real great awareness of ability to get away from the Ashe. And she was just so aggressive, and she showed why she is so valuable in this meta. You've lost a lot of the burst mobility, and even though Eevee has it, she's just such a low health pool, and the air isn't safe anymore. It's actually dangerous because of Leon.
Right.
So it was a great draft by MV. And I just think Virtus.Pro didn't really give themselves. Honestly, Bomb King might have been a little bit better there.
I mean, we gave then that's sort of what we were talking about through the draft. I think it's like, wow, Envy are drafting very well right here, and Tyra hasn't come out really too often. We saw her a little bit in our last set. She's been kind of hit or miss. Ascension Peak, though, first time this MSI we're going to see it. Not surprised to see Virtus.Pro going here. It's a map I think they're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
And it's smart to go here. I mean, map 1, technically you win. I mean, not technically. They literally won map 1, but it was so close. I mean, Envy were very close to winning map 1. Virtus.Pro clawback, end up winning it 4-3, but map 2, Stone Keep. I mean, you blinked, you missed it. That was a 4-1. Envy were kind of steamrolling that game, so going to a place of comfort, I think, is smart here.
Doe's got a big decision for this team. He's the captain. He's helping them make some of these decisions, drive it. Obviously, Vex will be doing a lot of talking. Spuds will be doing a lot of talking. There's a lot of guys with great experience. Fishy will obviously give his input as to what pick he wants, but the Ashe has been dominant, and I see
75% win rate.
It's just a great thing to pick because with a 44% pick rate, 75% is just nuts.
Yeah.
Because Bomb King, he's got 67, but he's got an 18% win rate, which means he's super specific where he works, but people tend to pick him when he will definitely work towards the end of that draft. But 75%? That's the highest win rate I think I've ever seen in these with someone who has a pick rate over 10%.
Yeah, I mean, and you can maybe sometimes you see those big blocky numbers where it's like 65%, and because it's such a small sample size,
5% pick rate. Yeah.
But like at 44%, I mean, you're getting down to enough size where one more pick is 1 more percent. I mean, she's been played or banned in half of the games basically up to this point.
Unreal.
And winning 75% of them, I think that's pretty wild. Barrack Eevee for Envy, I think that's smart. Fisheko loves playing Eevee. I think this maybe lends itself to a Mave pick for Fisheko on this map. Whether they go that way remains to be seen. Drogos as well is good here. I mean, Bomb King, it's all viable. It's all viable. I think he would have preferred an Eevee. He likes playing Eevee here, but taking that away is Envy.
I'm trying to think if they did this. If this was the matchup, because I think it was Random Noob, and there was a Mave Eevee that just chased each other around for like 8 years.
It might have been. It might have been.
It might have actually been these two. And this is exactly how it worked out for Envy. And from what I recall, I believe it was a little... I actually don't know who won that. It was just so even all the time. I don't even know who was on what.
If it was that recent and it was these two teams, it must have been Envy coming out on top 4-1. But...
just in the duels, I couldn't quite figure out whether Mave or Eevee really got the...
It felt kind of split. If I'm remembering correctly, it wasn't... I mean, it was sort of...
I think it was Eevee.
It was maybe a little more lopsided towards the Eevee.
Yeah.
But Eevee, Genos, Cassie, Barrack for Envy. Comfortability for Rock Monkey. Comfortability for Random Noob, as well as Tulky. And then you make them a little bit better with a little of the damage amp coming in from Mr. Hayes on the Genos here. So now Virtus.Pro, they have to make a decision as far as what do you want to use. Do you want to go back to that dueling style play where you throw Fisheko on the Mave? Do you want to have more of a removed position with someone like a Drogos? But getting Hecate on the Leon, just for starters, I think is a decent start here for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably it was probably the draft to consider Tyra last time because, you know, Leon can dive you, but not as, you know, I don't know. They're very interchangeable with Leon, but I consider Cassie's dodge roll a little bit more effective at mid-range and getting up close to you when you don't want to than Leon is, especially with that huge AoE blast shot. It's just a lot of burst damage. You don't have to really hit it. Drogoz and Fury is a great approach. We've seen this happen before in Virtus.Pro. This either wins or it underperforms because it is such a dangerous champion. It's so hard on the windows. You actually, so many lines of sight are shut off, and they don't have the actual hit scan to be able to deal with this, and they've already selected their damage champions. This is a great pick from Virtus.Pro.
I mean, I guess technically Cassie is the one who draws that card, but you're right. It's not hit scan. I mean,
not even close.
It's not even close. I mean, it's easier than maybe some blasters, but harder than someone like Liana, Tyra, whatever the other hit scan champions might be. But that's going to be on Rock Monkey to really clip the wings of this Drogoz. Final pick going the way of Envy here. They already have Barrick with 4 front lines banned out. Normally there's a third flex, or a fourth flex, I should say, and Ashinara picked. I guess Fernando is kind of where you have to go here.
It's kind of where you're looking. I mean, they could triple DPS. They could triple DPS. I think they're deciding it. That's what it is. So they're going to go for it. I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad play, but you have to now all in because you need someone who can kind of deal with that Drogoz in the air. It's almost like they might have had a situation where Fernando would have been competent, but at this point, that Drogoz is just going to be way too free without the hit scan. Maeve doesn't bring the hit scan, but it's fast enough, it's consistent enough, no reload. She will be able to apply pressure on a Drogoz.
And then you have to look at the opposite side. How do you deal with the mobility of Eevee and Maeve? I mean, of course, it's Leon who kind of drives that, and then Drogoz having to hit some shots as well. We're tied up at 1 here. One of these two teams will go to set point, move on to the semifinals potentially after Game 4. Who do you think takes Game 3, though?
I think Envy.
You think so?
I think so.
I think they've got the math is in full force today. I said Game 6 yesterday in a best of 5, so you know we're small improvements.
Big game. I think Rock Monkey's going to go big this game, to be honest.
Evan gives it to Rock Monkey. Game 3, which way is that going to go? Let's send it down to your casters to find out.
I do love me a good old-fashioned 3 DPS square dance.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of got forced onto it. You know?
A little bit. It's kind of one of those situations
got jammed on their head. They were not trying to go down the old town road.
Not trying to go down the old Nando road. I thought maybe the old Ruckus road.
It might have been an alright pick because it's a little better into the Leon, but the Drogoz.
You're getting slammed by that Drogoz.
Does not make me too happy about it. The start of their draft was so hard for Envy. I mean, Leon, Drogoz, Ashe, so good. I think into DPSs, and it's a lot of pressure on Rock Monkey to hit those mid-air daggers. I think onto Fishiko.
Well, it's all about stepping up. It's all about flexibility now, and Rock Monkey will be piloting young Maeve.
Really smart start to this, too. Kind of lurking on the side. They were not ready for him. Not a tank in the way. He misses the daggers onto Vex, though. Gets moved back out. Manages to get the trade. And they might be able to sustain through this.
You got plenty of DPS lives to sacrifice. DPS
throw
lives
more at it.
Do not matter
Send
in the 3 DPS comp.
Envy DPS lemmings in, and apparently it's working. Doe falls. The sustain was what they lost with the Furia pick, and Envy knew how to play around their advantage in the fight.
That's why it's looking like a worthwhile trade. Again, the 3 DPS flex, not something you see a lot of for Team Envy. It will be Tolkien piloting the Cassie. He's piloted a couple of things in his day when that was a very popular meta, but they got to pilot their way to a first round. Oh, hello, Eevee. She pops up in and out of the ice block. Fire spit, none of it will connect. Nice ice block there. Lots of distraction. And that's very, very valuable when Envy's sitting at 99%.
Yeah, with only 1 tank, too. And now a pick on Nakate. That really frees up the DPSs and especially the flanks. You can see that, too, as Rock comes right in, trying to find this kill on Doe. Traps himself in the corner. Out of line of sight of his Furia, though. The heals cannot come in.
And Envy will, with that, take the first payload. A couple more knives. Rock Monkey's moving freely. Let's take a look at damage here, see where Tolkien's ended up. Obviously, pretty good spot on the charts, frankly. Rubu dominating it. And that can happen with Barrick, if we're being honest with ourselves. Barrick's so consistent.
He was top damaging on Barrick when Genos wasn't even in the meta.
He's a hell of a player, especially on this character. And if this amount of pressure keeps up, I think this is an easy game for Tolkien, right? He's sitting in the back line. Nobody's really diving him. Nobody's really giving him much trouble. So as long as he doesn't make any glaring mistakes, I think Tolkien is in for a treat, right? A pretty easy ride. The DPS players that are normally playing those need to step up. Speak of the devil. Mr. Hayes slams one home off an Ice Storm, too. Not the most common combo.
It's a really good combo, kind of underutilized, I think. It's just really hard to execute.
I'm with you, man.
The Ice Storm's big. You know, you don't know exactly where they are. Your comms need to be on point, and I think the World Champions would be a team that you would hope would be bringing that kind of comms to the table.
I would love to see every time in space played off of something. You know, even an Ice Storm. An Ice Storm seems like the perfect fast charging, isn't super lethal on its own. It's the perfect complement. And more daggers is going to complement this NV conversion. 2-0 start. Ascension Peak could come and go very quickly. A 7-minute first round versus a 3-minute and 30-second first round.
VP just don't
NV they're starting to pick up momentum. They're starting to go very fast.
Yeah, VP just don't.
Oh, Ricky Bobby, that's another one, baby.
I know it is.
Oh man,
there was one from like a reality show when I was younger. It was like, I lost it. I'll pick it up later if I remember. But they just don't seem ready for this triple DPS. I mean,
frankly, I wasn't. This is not something NV do a lot. We saw them last pick in the draft, like really pining over. Do we grab a subpar frontline, or do we just do what we've not had to do in many months, but absolutely have the capability to do? Do not get that twisted. Toki is a very capable DPS player, especially when this amount of pressure is giving him kind of like a lot of room to just chill. He's like really not doing anything too crazy, sitting in the back line, poking away, second in damage, only behind Rubu. I mean, it's a good scenario for him to be in.
Yeah, some trades coming in first. Dragon Punch actually only finding random noob. That's ideal, I think, for Envy. Rock Monkey looking for a trade on Fish.
Unfortunate.
Does find it. Vex getting cap time in the back. We'll see how Envy can resettle, finding some poke here maybe on Doe. Trying to trade on left side.
Trade. That's the name of the game. Big game activated, but Akate slams Toki before he can find his way back out of that fight. The trading continues. Red, blue, all day long. Dome Shield is ready, but Rubu can't get it off. It's a comeback mechanic-enabled fight that Virtus.Pro are finally in control of.
Yeah, and Envy's going to have... They at least have multiple ways to touch, you know. Cassie, Eevee, Maeve, all of them can get in. Wow.
Quality.
Fair prediction by Fish, but Random manages to barely make it out. I don't think there's any way they can really stop Random from at least triggering overtime, so we'll see if the Envy can at least play this slow, maybe find a pick or two. Kool-Aid barely making it out from an onslaught from Rock Monkey.
Right on cue. A lot of cooldowns being spent by Rock, not having a real clear goal, I think, in mind. First kill, the only kill that matters, the only frontline Envy have to give. They have DPS lives to sacrifice, but frontlines, they have but one.
Few and far between.
Yeah.
Rubu just wasn't ready for the Fury Beam coming in. I mean, that's like, nobody's thinking about Fury Beam stunning you, you know? Played against Solar Blessing for how long?
Right.
Then you see a beam coming right for you. It's like, oh, that'll stop on the Inara. Goes right through her. Things get a little bit more dangerous playing chicken. He just couldn't get the dome off in time. Wasn't thinking about that. What was Wormhole? That was the Wormhole.
Yeah,
okay.
He's trying to get a read there, but Random was already dead. Maybe just
Hecate a little too efficient.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, believe in your teammates here, Fish. Fire Spit round the corner. That's good for Rock Monkey as this offense commences. Now, remember the context of this situation. It's 2-1 with a defense. You can score a point. Can't win the game, but you can score points up to 3. So Team Envy just need to hold here. And because there is a point on the line, they're probably a little bit more likely to spend ultimates. Yes, you give comeback mechanics to Virtus.Pro, but point's a point.
Yeah, also because since they're all DPSs, their ults charge fairly quick. I mean, Midnight isn't...
Very true.
Midnight's like a medium speed, but Ice Storm and Scout charge pretty quick too. I wouldn't be worried about them playing it. Also, I wanted to mention really quick, this actually, in this meta, I think triple DPS is really good for Envy because of how slow and defensive you kind of have to play it. You're playing...
Play this meta or this map?
This, both.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, triple DPS isn't really, at least right now, a super aggressive comp. You're trying to more focus, like, point, get a surround, and slow control play is something Envy have historically done.
Because rarely, I mean, in the past when 3 DPS was more meta, in my opinion, it was more common to see, like, both teams do it. Like, a lot of people playing 3 DPS.
Or just Fnatic.
And they would do it every time. Sometimes people would just be like, this looks too easy, man. We got to try this out, see if we can get it to work. But a lot of times in this meta, when you're seeing 3 DPS, it's against a double, or God forbid, a triple tank. So especially on Splitstone, I'm noticing like if you get a lot of mobility on Splitstone, you can very easily surround and just dominate the map.
And that's what people are finding out. I mean, that's where its niche, I think, is right now. No one was really thinking about it, and then a bunch of tank bans happened, and they were like, what if we just
You can only
shoot
pick
one
low-tier
thing?
tanks for so
Yeah.
long before you're like,
exactly.
I guess we'll take Eevee Maeve.
You get con
All
grabbed
right?
through your Nando shield so many times, and you're like, just give me Maeve, please, or I'm just walking out of this script.
Maeve or feed. 2 seconds, 1 second, no seconds, my dudes. Overtime has commenced. Mr. Hayes finds the first pick. Remember, the defensive point is on the line. Envy want to hold here. They want to go up 3-1, but they want to do it efficiently, meaning they don't want to spend ultimates if they can help it. Right now, it looks like they might need to spend something. Random throws out the Ice Storm, tries to lock one down, but simply can't.
Yeah, I mean, he's just buying time for Rubu, excuse me, I think, to get back. He's applying pressure from the side. He cannot re-peek. Gonna try to get the healing from the flicker, but I don't know if it'll be keeping alive. It does. They actually didn't push the right side. Maybe a small misstep from VP. Dome Shield coming in to buy time too, but it looks like might still lose Rubu and main.
Just tried to push that left-hand side, taken down. Rock with 1, Rock with 2. Rock will die, but it's a 2-for-1 on the defense. They're reinforcing this fight faster. That is all good for Team Envy. They get their point. They go up 3-1, and it didn't cost them too much.
No, it didn't. And they, like I said, they mostly use fast-charging ultimates. Maybe sans the Dome Shield. That's one that charges a little bit slower, but when you're focusing on just poking with a Genos Mark, it'll be a little bit better than, you know, trying to sustain around an edge.
Indubitably. And Ascension Peak, is it bigger than Bazaar, or is it just a different shape?
Well, the point?
Well, it
It's
is a different
wider.
shape, but
I think if we're
we're talking
I haven't
square
really
footage
done the
here,
square
real
footage
estate
here.
here, brother. I want to know what I'm paying. Am I getting my money's worth here on this objective?
Oh my God! Welcome to. Thank God Patrick Warburton is here, guest starring in the booth. Rare sighting.
Is that what that guy? I don't know what that
Patrick
guy's name is.
Kronk from
Kronk,
like,
yeah.
Emperor's New Groove. Yeah, that's Patrick.
I don't know
Warburton.
who that guy. I don't know, but I love that dude's voice. He's got a great.
There's so many
couple
people
of
that
roles.
just try to be him too. It's actually crazy.
Oh man. Well, 3-1 now is the score line. A lot of comeback mechanic potential to be played around here. Rendu finds the first kill. They might not even need to worry about comeback mechanic. They're finding frags that fast. Dragon Punch ready. Assert Dominance ready, but dead. Vex is dead. Inara has her ultimates as well. There's a lot to play around. Envy strike first, and they strike hard.
Envy doesn't really have a counter for the Dragon Punch now, other than the through time and space. Inflame coming in. They want to burn through these squishy DPSs, but it looks like they're not close enough to really make use of it. Avoiding Fish's rockets. He might be trying to flank from the side. He is coming right over the top. You got to be paying attention to the skies for that Wormjet's Drogos, because he will catch you off guard if you don't.
Nice try there with the counterplay on the time and space. It's the right idea. With the wrong timing, Fisheko's too quick to pull off and then back on target. Comeback mechanic is still there. Don't forget about it. Dragon Punch connects. Inflame is good. Seismic Crab. Ooh, I like these rockets. Reading the wormhole. Wants that wormhole. Waiting for the ice block. Right in the face. Fishy. Plenty of time to react to that one. Overtime is still a thing. But it's a bit of a formality at this point as Virtus.Pro grabbed the payload yet again.
That was a great angled wall. Made Rubu take the long way to reach the point, just bought him enough time. Also, I want to ask you this, because I'm not sure.
Okay.
If you spit on an ice block, not just like out of disrespect, like fire spit,
I don't think so.
It does not mark the character for bonus
I don't
damage?
think so. I think she's immune to everything because I know when you ice block, it cleanses all
Yes,
debuffs.
that I know.
So given that, I'm putting my chips on no, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't fly.
There's some weird interactions where if you run Willow Blast Flower and you shoot a Billowings in, you actually get your stacks.
Is that so?
Yes.
That's really weird because
That
you
is
don't
super
even get immune text. You get nothing
Yeah.
when you shoot a Billowings in. That is very strange to me. Good thing Shrixus is watching. He can take a peek-see at that. Shout outs to the QA boys.
My hip is actually vibrating. That
Oh
might be
my
him
God, that
saying,
might be
why
him."
didn't you tell me that right now?
How dare you call me out? Well, a couple of great shots connecting mid-air from a random noob. Rubu finds one, 10 toes down. 1:30 left on the clock. The kill feed's filling up with both colors. But those even trades, remember the golden rule, even trades in favor of the defense. They reinforce quicker. The spawn is right here. They've got high ground. They've got spawn doors to heal through. They've got cover. I mean, what else do you need?
Not much more. I guess maybe another DPS, but I
The
think
Ascension
they might
Peak
be
spawn
full up.
is a comfortable one to fight out. Nice shots here from random noob.
That's
They
why
don't
the
have
EV
any direct hint scan, but man, when you get up close and personal like
when
that.
you're good enough, you don't need it, you know? And that's
Yeah.
why the Eevee Drogos matchup is so back and forth. I mean, Drogos has the advantage if the Eevee's playing right under him, but in these like far away, it's really a whole prediction.
It really is, yeah. If you can hit those mid-rangers, you're feeling much better about it. That's literally every conversation with a Drogoz, with an Eevee, it's like, well, technically yes, but sometimes no. If you can hit these shots, paper matchups go out the window. Rubu finds the first kill here. 30 seconds on the clock. Midnight deters aggression for a little while longer. But make no mistake about it, with this many ultimates online for VP, I'm smelling a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they want to use all of them to convert, though, because if they lose, I mean, their life is still in the balance.
Yeah,
you have
for
to be
sure.
careful. If they can maybe get it with one, if they can make Envy burn some, that might be more comfortable, but Envy's charged so fast, and they get so much out of them. Every Midnight that Envy is using is becoming a kill. Almost every single one.
Well, the night is darkest just before the dawn here, and as Resilience comes online, that dawn will come sooner and sooner every time the clock strikes midnight. Spread thin, pretty low HP, but the first kill goes to Envy nonetheless. The second kill goes to Envy, and this defense looks like it will come to a quiet end. Overtime expires, no ultimates expended. Virtus.Pro, recognizing that situation that you brought up, they don't want to leave themselves high and dry for a 3-3 fight.
Especially since the ultimates have kind of been what win them the fight. You know, think about that last one.
Yeah.
Dominance, Seismic Crash, Haze while he's running away.
Nothing special about
Dragon
it.
Punch, yeah, just they have
Everybody
insane
press E.
ultimates. Yeah.
And we got it.
Is yours bound to E?
Mine is bound to E. What's yours bound to?
Shift.
Shift. What about your movement key, you ding-dong?
E.
Don't tell me you're an effer.
No, I E.
Oh, man.
Actually, everyone.
So your E movement... Yeah,
I thumb
shift is so
everything
natural.
you right-click for. I mouse 5 for with my thumb.
I do that for just Victor Grenade, actually, because I want to be able to maintain full WASD while I'm popping that ability. But it's all about what works for you, kids.
Yes.
Except for F as your default movement bind. If you're doing that, you're simply wrong.
And Envy's lurking a little on the right here again. They found them success in the beginning, but VP kind of adapted. Might be able to find it. Great daggers.
Looking at the seismic crash. Oh my goodness. RKO'd out of nowhere. Doceps connects with Mr. Hayes. Wasn't even looking. The poor bastard never saw it coming. Dome Shield comes out on the objective. Fishy has an answer. What'll it be? The Dragon Punch looking for that cheeky little dwarf. And he'll find him too. Not a comeback mechanic in full, but a half one is working just fine for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, and Envy knew it too. They had to use that Dome Shield early, but VP just have all the answers because they saved their ultimates in that last fight. There's really not much they can do. They'll get retouched because of this Midnight, but they still have assert dominance just right in front of them. Rubu can touch as feebly as he wants, but it's not going to make a huge difference. Fishico wipes him off the face of the earth.
Another double here, feeding a lot of kills. Momentum Man. We're in for a banger here, folks.
We were all quiet waiting for that triple direct. There was bated breath. I could all tell.
Collective sigh of relief now as Fishico finally uses Drogo's rocket hovering on the right side of the map. It's looking good. The movement's solid here. We love to see these things. Such a masterclass performance of Drogo's here on Ascension Peak. Room to play with as well.
Fair weather today.
He's done a nice job. Of course, this payload sloping a bit left to right. Something he has to be aware of, but that's what your supports are there. Just acting like a caddy, calling it out for you.
I didn't want to break your flow there.
I want a golf clap into my mic. Small golf clap into my mic. Fantastic, fantastic. Absolutely masterclass.
What you call it? Eagle soaring through the sky?
Perhaps I might bestow that title.
I would love to do a full cast. I don't want to put you guys to sleep, though. Nobody signed up for golf today.
This game is so
Paladins,
exciting. How
brother.
could they?
It's video games here, and we're ready to rock and roll. It's all tied up 3-3. 1-1 in the set as well. This is a best of 5. It's been long games. Probably the closest set of the day, if not the tournament. You know, obviously Cyclone and Hype Unit on day 1 being pretty close as well. That was a very fun one to watch. This one's fun in a different sense.
I mean, these are teams that figured each other out, you know? I mean,
Looks that way.
Both teams won the other's picks. I think VP was taken a little bit aback by the triple DPS at the start, considering the travel that they had, not really able to scrim as much as some other teams. But, I mean, they're adapting.
Fair point.
Yeah, they're adapting here. And it's really showing how well these later mids have gone. Envy have to find a way to play around their ultimates in this final mid fight. It comes to that.
Salvo, a little bit of information. Let's check back in on the damage charts. I want to see how my man's Tolki's doing. Hanging in there. 4th place by a narrow margin. Still in front, though, the Iron March. Rubu, one hell of a fragger on Barrack. I believe he actually out-fragged Rock Monkey, and I think it was their Vegas final. He was very excited to tell me about that.
I was on stage right next to you with them, and he was like,
Look at this! Look at what I did! I beat Rock. Get smoked. I'm playing tank, idiot. He loves this character, man. Does so well on it. You want to talk about a master class? 987 goes the clock. This is it. The game could end. It's gonna be far-fetched, I think, at this point.
Rock
a lot of
keeps connecting
respect.
these daggers, I don't know, but Doe finding him trying to back up. Solid wall, just a little bit off.
Smell blood.
Smell blood in the water.
Smell blood in the water. Thankfully, Rubu trades that one out quickly. Pule answers right back. Doe wants it. Doe gets it. 3 stunned. Immune out with the CC. Ah, the scout is really, really good. Dome shield manages to buy some time, but is it enough?
It might be. It looks like it. Barely surviving their dome shield. Actually, to peel for Hayes, excuse me, he makes it out. Trading coming out on the cart. Doe's still healthy. They have to focus him down really soon. He has damage reduction too. I don't know if they'll be able to focus him down with all the DPS is dying. It's just Hayes in lifting him. Tolkien in now. Is he going to be able to
Let's go, baby! We take those!
Win one of their favorite maps.
Oh, quadra kill for Vex's Furia. Of course he's amped up about that one, baby. He frags Cassie and finish what Dosups started. That was a great
play the
fight.
game too. See that in the reflection?
I mean, you gots to give it to the Furia quadra kill there. Close. But it's those first couple of picks that set up the seismic crash, that set up what VP call the finisher.
You know, Envy historically has been a team that kind of struggles at the start of a tournament and then picks it up as they go on, becoming clutch. VP, the question is, your wrist says
we don't have
that
time.
They don't have time.
That's what my wrist just told me. And Bobby could even see it. I mean, I'm surprised he can read my wrist as well as I can. It's time to get it back to the desk as Envy are looking pretty scared going down 2-1.
Envy looking for an Atlas setback right now because they're out of time. That was good.
They're looking for a second chance.
They're looking for a second chance. That's right. That's another game where Envy have 3 points, a chance to win it. And then this time they give up 3 straight. Game 1, I think it was 4 straight to Virtus.Pro. But it's making the most of these small moments. Like you said, it's sprints. You know, and Kresnik said, you know, they play better longer throughout the duration of a tournament. But you're playing a best of 5 for your life right now, and your back's against the wall. Envy, if they lose, they're going home. Virtus.Pro going on to face Penta if they win this next game. Rubu held his own there on the front line. Lots of big damage numbers in this one. But Virtus.Pro, they come out on top.
I'm going to take a little bit of silence because the first name out of your mouth was Rubu. I'm just gonna let you sit there for a second. You had your chance.
I have to explain.
You had your chance.
I said
Dave.
Rubu held his own.
You had your chance.
I said he held his own.
Dave, you had your chance.
But Vex
because
took
the only person we need to talk about is Vex 30. You need to stop talking because you said Rubu, and this man put some respect on his name. A quadra kill to finish off this game. And he's not the first thing and the only thing out of your mouth. I don't want to hear about Rubu right now.
You didn't let me get
He's
to my
a great
butt.
player. I don't need to let you get there. You should have gotten there before I even had a chance to not let you.
I was saying
And that's the end of the matter, Dave.
I said he held his own.
You messed up on this one.
I said he held his own.
And this man has to be recognized because we've been talking about him. He's been part of the storyline, Dave. Don't take it too seriously, man. It's just jokes. But here's the deal. A quadra kill to finish this off. The big story we came into this conversation with is what he had given up to be here for this moment. And in the moment that it was decided, Vex showed up so big, not a double kill, not a triple kill, a quadra kill on Furia.
You don't see that.
You just don't see that.
You just saw that, but you don't see it normally.
You just don't see it, and you just saw it. So how important is that to recognize? I mean, honestly, great plays all around. To be fair, Envy did a great job at the start. Rock Monkey did have a great start of this game. But, you know, we covered I covered my bases here by talking about Vex early and then saying Envy would win. So either way, I felt pretty good about how this went. Unbelievable stuff, though, man.
That was absolutely absurd. And you could see how much it meant to Vex at the end of that game. The emotion pouring out there, realizing that he put his team in a position one game away from moving on here. And it's back to the drawing board again for Envy. They put themselves in a position to win, but it's just those 1, 2, 3 points. They come trickling through. They come back and they bite Envy. And that's just an example of you can put all of your chips out on the table. You can have, you know, a better composition, a better performing team potentially. But one strong performance, a quadra kill in this case from Vex. That's all you need to pull things back.
It's just a beautiful thing because you just don't know when it's going to show up. And I often talk about, you have to let go of what you got in order to get something else, right? Because you're holding on to that. You don't have any room to add on. And Vex has just been a great example of that. He did it publicly. That's why it's such an important, cool thing to see it actually pay off here.
Absolutely.
But he's been able to do this all the time. It's just the fact that he's doing it in these big moments really says a lot about a player. This is really how a player gets defined in the kind of memoriam of esports history for Paladins, because these are the moments that could send Envy home. And if you sent Envy home here, if Virtus.Pro won, we all knew they were capable. But would we have bet that was going to happen? Probably not, given the way Envy was playing in their history. So if they can actually do this now 2-1 up in that pivotal Game 3 going their way, this is everything, man. That's going to be the MVP moment for sure.
This is why Virtus.Pro are such a hard team to put your finger on, because they'll show up in a game like this and have a performance like that and blow you out of the water. And then, maybe next time fall a little bit short. But that's we're talking about the upswing right now for Virtus.Pro and the incredible performance they put in to pull that one back, going in now to Game 4 out of potentially 5 if Envy are able to win it. And it's not even so, that wasn't even, again, I sort of referenced this, but that even wasn't even so much like drafting issues for Envy.
Sure.
That was just pure, I think, outplay there towards the end of that game. There was a little bit of some of those intermittent matchups that maybe went one way or another. But when you have an individual performance like that, the healing numbers were incredible. Across the board, you look at a Virtus.Pro team that just they picked a good composition.
Yeah.
And then they played it well.
And that's what's so great when a guy like that pops off. It's really not about the team that lost. Like, Envy don't have to worry too much about that. Given a defense going well, unless a Furia gets a quadra kill on you, I'll take that situation 10 times out of 10. It's unfortunate that this time the quadra kill happened and your defense was not able to hold. But barring that, they probably would have been able to go to another round. They wouldn't have had to work with a comeback mechanic, a fast cap. That's something that was really working for them. Yep. And just the way that we saw SSG become a little bit victim to that Serpent Beach game where Kanga got the fast cap against them and was able to take a 3-1 lead, turn it back around, and on that final cap where they had a half fast cap potential to capture it, I'm saying cap a lot, but you guys understand, they then took that point and pushed it in. There was no chance for an even fight after the first round. Yeah. So that's a really important kind of storyline that we have to acknowledge at least.
Agreed.
But credit to Virtus.Pro for making the best of what they got.
And they asked MetaPusher this in the pregame interview. In a 5-game set, they're used to 7 as far as map picks go. He didn't think that the map picks would really change around all that much, and I don't really see why they would. It's just 2 less potentially on the back end. But the first 2 maps, the team that picked it lost. Now we finally see Virtus.Pro going to a map that they're comfortable on and winning. But in this pool, you've kind of thrown out what you have. If you're Envy, you've only had 1 chance to do it. But you're still probably feeling comfortable with what's left because your back's against the wall 1 game earlier than you're used to it being. We'll have to see which direction they choose to go. Again, orange, blue, orange. They need it to be blue if they want to continue on. 2 4-3s and a 4-1. Last time they lost 4-3, they bounced back in convincing fashion. Splitstone Quarry is where we're headed. This is a map that's lent itself to kind of a couple different schools of thought where you can really draft a composition that likes playing underneath the bleachers. You can send somebody way up high to overlook the point fight. You can just stick somebody on the point and fight from there. So it's fun to watch some of those compositions mold throughout the draft.
Dave, this is a great map for Envy because it's something they've relied on for big moments in their career as a team. This is where they won Vegas, which was the first international type LAN that a North American team had won. Last year it occurred, and it was on this map where they pushed for it. I believe it was Game 6 against Fnatic that they were able to do that. And so what an incredible place to go and say, this is where we're going to do or die, keep this set alive, or we're going to go out of this tournament in a bang. The mid-season invitational isn't everything. We all know that, and it's easy to say that if you lose as well, because then you can look towards HRX and say that's where we really want to be champions. And anyone would trade those 2 trophies for sure. But this means a lot, and it means a lot for Virtus.Pro, and I think that this would be a very big blow to their confidence and momentum right now to lose, because they have the opportunity to put Envy away, and you don't want to let them come back. You do not want a Game 5, even if it's on your map pick, with Envy feeling good about themselves. So this is where you have to really end it, and the draft has to be according to your plan.
We mentioned Ash's 75% win rate. It has now improved 1% at a 76% win rate.
And they've got it again.
Throughout the MSI here. Virtus.Pro, they pick up Ash. The space controlling nature of her ultimate is so strong on this map. I mean, if these skirmishes continue to happen in that under the bleacher area near the fidget spinners, you're able to doink your head against the ceiling, immediately come back down. That's an instant stun almost, not enough time to react. A lot of that space control, dome shield as well, strong too. Con is where Envy show a little bit of preference if you show that or get that overpower. Lots of instant executes available on the map. Lava on one side,
Great
stone
counter to
spinners
Ash.
on the other. But Cassie Maeve is where they go damage-wise, and Leon coming out first here for Hecate.
Yeah, it's a great counter to Ash, and he controls that left side. I would give Rubu a really good opportunity when you look at being able to effectively play this champion. I think Rubu is going to give you 95% of what he needs to do almost all the time. So I feel really good about Envy's draft right now. It's a lot of flexibility for Random Noob. It's a lot of consistent poke damage from afar and up close for Rock Monkey. You can't really ask for a better top 3 for them right now, given the meta. Mr. Hayes back on his comfort. And, you know, the key is, can you get Tolkien on the Inara performing the way that he often does in these big moments? Quadra kills, there's, you know, the only thing better would be in like a semifinal of the World Championship, and he did that on this front line. So, big-time plays.
Up against the wall, Envy draft a comfortable composition, but Virtus.Pro, they have a lot of good space control on their side. The Bomb King is going to feel comfortable in tight quarters, Barrack as well. Ash on top of that, amplify it all with a Genos.
Yep.
Both teams, I should say, with good drafts. Do you think Virtus.Pro put themselves in a spot to take this one?
I absolutely think they have. I think this is both teams got what they want given their position in the draft. I think the EV ban opened some stuff up. Hopefully the Cassie doesn't come back to bite them. But if you're Virtus.Pro, you have to win now and move on to the next round.
Well, they need the Rock Monkey effect to come out big here for Envy. Backs against the wall. They need to find this one to avoid going home. How's it going to play out? Let's send it down to the casters to see what happens.
Thank you, gentlemen, and we're loading now in a split stone core. Remember, I'm pretty here. This is Kresnik here to maybe bring this set home and bring the day home into a close.
A double upset.
We just talked about...
I haven't seen that before, sorry.
Yeah, we just... yeah, I know it can be shocking at times. The amount of sexual energy emanating from Wally on his intro is absolutely staggering. But specifically talking about split stone quarry, we mentioned that if you get mobility and your opponents don't, how, yes, they can fight under the bleachers more effectively than you, but you get the rest of the map. And I feel like that's maybe what VP set themselves up for here with Maeve going through and them have nothing really to contest it.
But Khan hasn't won a game this set so far. I mean, the team
so?
with the Khan has lost to the team with the Ash Barrack both times, and then he got banned. I think the Leon is a really good counter to that mobility if Hecate can hit the shots on the Maeve when she's trying to rotate. And, I mean, if any Leon can, I think I'd put my money on Hecate being that Leon.
Wow, and he is so far so good. Pushed off the high ground by Khan, in fact. Big flank, make its way around. Two on their high ground, 2 on VP's high ground, 1 on the point. This is what I'm talking about. This is 20% of the map going to VP and the other 80% going to Team Envy. Power pick for Rubu. He's got to be able to get it done. No kills just yet, but with a Bomb King wheeling off on Inara. She might not be long for this world. Rubu likes what he sees. Big game. Might be the first blood. One more shot will do it. Rock Monkey claims first blood.
Pula gets a little extended there, trying to make room for Fishiko, but it might be enough room. I mean, the Ash doesn't necessarily have to live. Just has to let everybody else in, and it's all that mattered. Fish finding some confirms. Hecate finding one of his own. Vex capping point. If he can keep avoiding these daggers, he can put it into the overtime.
Yeah,
looks like he's going to back up. Very safe.
That
Fish,
Poppy was sick, dude.
Fish rushes their high ground. Random has no idea. Can he find the finish? Barely around the corner. Royal Subjects is pretty good, and so are all of BK's cards to give him all this self-sustain. He's going to be really hard to kill.
Not even Inara can really go toe-to-toe. It's elimination game for Team Envy. Pacheco's already off to a good start. Hecate, that was an okay fight from him. He got flanked by Khan. I mean, only so much you can do to deal with that. King Bomb rolling up and take the scenic route. Looking for Rock Monkey and is gonna find him as well. Now Rubu scrambling to see what they can do. Sliding into harm's way. Hecate pins Mr. Hayes to the wall with a beautiful presence. Enlightenment rips through Rubu. I love what I'm seeing from Hecate. Virtus.Pro are off to the races on Splitstone Quarry.
Such good patient positioning, I think. I mean, Hecate rushed up to the high ground and then just waited. Like, his fish will go in, Pule will go in, they'll stare at them. They got so distracted that Hayes was like, I have to rotate and heal my team. Just gave Hecate just completely free spam. Looks like they want to get a little bit more aggressive here. The Grumpy Bomb coming in from Fish, actually getting feared by Hayes. Won't be able to get away. King's Newport can't sustain you through that if you can't blow up any of your bombs.
Oh, the Dome Shield comes out. Shoulder bash, big burst damage, 1200 on a Rock Monkey. It's enough. Mr. Hayes takes him down in kind. Remember, trades go to the defense. And this one looks like it's going to be calming down just a little bit. 1:18 on the clock, plenty of time. Team Envy popped their midnight as well. Nobody can see right now from Virtus.Pro. It's a 4-second, technically a CC, so it's mitigated by resilience.
To the minimum.
But it's 3 minutes into the game, man. Everybody's eating that full 4 seconds.
And that really, for professional teams, it's one of the more influential ults in the game. It's why she's kind of seen such a resurgence. I mean,
try closing your eyes and playing on FPS and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Turn off the crosshair in your monitor, see if that changes anything at all. But, I mean, Maeve, no fall off, Cat Burglar damage boost, Midnight being so effective. You can really tell why she's popped back into the meta so strong.
You know, an early pick on this Cassie, highly emphasized, and it's done okay, but I definitely agree with the desk in this one. Everyone feels like they got what they want, so the draft crucial, but it's really being decided by the players this time around. Random Noob maybe would have preferred to have Eevee in this instance. First kill goes VP, second goes to Envy. Big fear again from Hayes. He's cranked 2 of those bad boys out at this point. Pacheco up, down, right into the jaws of Cassie. Trading and trading and trading, but again, these even trades are not going to be enough to get this conversion.
That trade isn't even. They might have enough damage onto the Khan, but the Inara respawning
big boys.
looks like it's going to dash the hopes of VP, at least to go up 2-0. Give Envy their comeback mechanic. Vex still alive on the side. Actually, they can't kill the Barrack. Hekate's back too. They managed to find Rubu. Do they have enough sustain to do this? BK on the side. The DPSs have to die to touch the point. Bit of an overcommitment maybe here with the King Bomb.
I get it. It's like, I'm pretty sure he's hitting that button as Barrack is dying.
Yeah.
And the second Barrack dies, that push isn't a thing you can see. There is, for better or for worse, a lot of communication happening on Virtus.Pro at the moment, and it was directed from Vex down towards Hecate and Pule Ule. So something may be happening, but this is not the time to get frustrated with each other. Virtus.Pro are so close to this upset. If they keep playing as well as they were all round long, they will be just fine.
This would be a really crazy end of the day, too. Both, how could he see anything in there? I tried to say it when you were talking, but he was basically as blind as as anybody getting midnighted was.
Right. I mean, that was a very, very quick snap reaction on the Enlightenment. 5-2 through the first round. 2-3 for Pule Ule. Fishy 3-4. 4-0 for Vex. 12 streak burning for the Genos. That's a problem. I imagine Virtus.Pro will start this round the same, but Hecate obviously going to be hyper aware of this flank. Very, very careful about how he approaches it. Rubu still on the horse, walks right up to Hecate, and he's in position.
Yeah, a little more defensive this time, but the Scout, they didn't even dismount them. He can't get away. Vex,
big kill.
The bonus ult charge going towards Rubu. Actually finding Fish too, but can anyone finish up on it? Only Hecate's there to help. Rock Monkey has a fantastic angle. The peel is looking really solid for Envy so far.
Dead, dead, and dead. But no comeback mechanic. Envy used basically all their ults. Mr. Hayes is about to get his 40th Dread Serpent of the game, it feels like already. Virtus.Pro still have Enlightenment as well as the time and space. In combination with an Assert Dominance, they still have a way out of this. Not if Fishy dies, though. He's got to stay alive. He's such a big part of their team fight, of their lethality. He's juking in the corner here. The wall actually prevents Rock Monkey from capitalizing on that kill, and they've let Pule Ule back through.
And he has Assert Dominance too. They're going to have to focus him down or find a CC on him. Doesn't look like they can. Invincible on point through time and space, just a little bit high, but VP have a ton of sustain now. Hecate rotating back to his team. Now their group, this is what they want. I think they want to be able to burn them down piece by piece, but Hayes' Dread Serpent might change that.
Big fear, big damage to follow it up from Hecate, in fact. Only once traded. Pule could get all of these kills. He grabs one, doesn't grab the second, goes down. Enlightenment's there. Hecate doesn't want to pop it, but he's got to. He misses it. Critical moment there. Maybe.
Everybody's so low.
Maybe could have brought that back if Hecate could have killed the Inara without Enlightenment, hit that Enlightenment, and then him and Vex easily, I think, are able to clean up Rock Monkey there. Splitting hairs down to the wire here. That final overtime expires, and finally capture the payload.
I just hope VP can handle those tense situations going the other way in this high-pressure situation. They need to be able to like not get too frustrated about that.
This is pressure, man.
This is the highest pressure that the PPL has had so far. I mean, this is for the prize pool. This is for pride, especially when they're about to flip it on a team that a lot of people were favoring going into this.
2 minutes on the clock in this round. Nobody has a chance to end the game here. Just go up 3-1 or even it up 2-2. A big flank from Tolkien. It's just paying off, man. Seismic Crash stuns out at least 2. It might have even caught Vex on the back end as well. It's slow, it's steady, it's a rock, it's a Nara. She manages to basically win that fight on her own. Everybody else from Envy gets credit in the kill feed, but make no mistake, that one's all Tolkien.
There's a reason Nara's been such a mainstay in the meta for so long. I mean, obviously, tank getting healed, good. Tank getting more healed, more good. You know, if you're going to caveman out on the analysis, but it's just the fact that she has that super influential ultimate. Less so when CC was built in, but it's still good no matter what. You can cancel through it. She's just always had something in every meta.
Dude, hold up. How's he back to... Okay. Did they do that thing where they get the overpower, but they kill Fasheko before he even gets there, so he gets the 30% refund?
I think so.
I swear to God, that's the... They used to do that. That was like a practice strat on Brightmarsh that Envy specifically, I know, used to do.
Edge to edge,
yeah, window to window, man. I think that's what they managed to do, whether they meant to or not. That's why Rubu's so damn close. I'm like, how the hell is he already back to 40, 50% on overpower? And I think this is a problem, frankly, because I don't expect Virtus.Pro to be planning for overpower to be back up, but it's gonna be.
I mean, Khan looked pretty strong. He was doing a lot of damage. They could expect it to at least be
Maybe
close.
we can see that replay. I don't really know. I mean, it's a very, very close call. But Fasheko might have died before he got to, and I'm remembering that right. That's how that mechanic works. If they don't get all the way to you, you get the 30 back.
It doesn't happen too often, but if they die on travel, what was the strat? Was it just focusing them down, or was it like them through time and space as they're flying in? Was
directly toward it? Yeah, and sometimes if it's a squishier target, it doesn't even have to be like a time and space. You just do the 2,000 damage before they get in. Mr. Hayes cleans up 2. Very good stuff across the board.
We need communication on VP to be a little better this way, because Fishiko was trying to push a lane without his tank when Pule had a guaranteed touch. They need to at least slow it down in the comps, because I think the pressure is getting to them a bit.
I tend to agree with you. No big con flank this time around. You can see everybody's kind of aware of it. Rubu falling lower, lower, lower. He goes, has overpower available, Enlightenment's ready to go. So if Akati doesn't die immediately, he's just going to pop it. He does die in the impact into the wall. Flying in for the reinforcements comes Fasheko around the corner. He looks to find his prey. He'll get Khan. But what else can they grab? Virtus.Pro off to a great start, 62% in the lead.
Leonara was really low, and they actually did manage to catch her on the rotation, but they're going to not be able to burn through the Mother's Grace. She gets the overtime. If they can trade her for this, this is fine. They have the assert dominance. Doesn't manage to get the Seismic Crash off, too. This is really good for VP, especially with this position Fishiko's in. The Cassie can't do much. I mean, I guess they're not even going to contest anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Somewhat of a silver lining, and Nara gets to maintain her ultimate. Can't quite make the jump to the high ground. Looks for the subjects to clean it up. That increased blast radius. Some people see it as a crutch, but it objectively makes you better at fighting around corners.
Yeah, you can poke people around corners. You can det over like shields like against Khan. I don't really see a world where you don't want to run Royal Subjects against Khan, unless maybe it's like a Quint's tank situation, and you just want, you need that extra damage. But it's just too good against Khan. You can hit his shield and him at the same time. You just get so much more out of it than I think than the other ones.
Rock Monkey dancing delicately, albeit with Dosups. Has to count his chickens a little bit before they hatch those. He's not able to grab the kill, nor die, frankly, in that matchup. This is the toughest corner to break, I think, on the offense. VP just poking out. Some ultimates starting to come back from that mid-fight. Envy, again, same situation kind of Ascension Peak was in. They won't end the game, and VP, we've already known that they're not going to leave themselves high and dry to go 3-3. They'll take it if it happens, but they're not going to overspend for it.
Yeah, I can see them maybe using like an ultimate or two
why aren't you
don't have
Cassie,
guaranteed value. Look, probably just following up on a focus call from his team. He's still going to get it, though, because of the great pressure from the front. Good push from the tanks of VP. They're going to find Hayes, too. Maybe Fish can find a third. Okay. I mean, he
That
still has the
sucks.
King Bomb. It's not really the end of the world. Used it, I think. He was trying to poppy up and use it, but small mistiming. You're CCing
Do you even
once the
need
King
it
Bomb
there, Mo?
starts.
I'm like, I almost want to say that's a misclick, man. Doesn't get it off, though.
Honestly, if it is, then he's much happier it went the way it did.
Yeah, he still retains that ultimate. Same story as the Inara on the objective. Silver Lining didn't get the ult off, though she started the wind up. Here comes Maeve. That's a lot of, wow, 20 HP. Random Noob does not miss a knife. Hekate absolutely erased without a reaction.
Yeah, there was nothing he could really do. I mean, he didn't know Maeve was there until it was way too late. They have time to wait for Hekate. I hope they just don't rush things on the side. Looks like Kool-Aid is actually doing a good job protecting Fish here. Good grip. They actually might be able to get Ruba from under the shield.
No.
Royal Subject showing its worth again.
Hey, don't you love when a nice thing happens like that? Puts it on display. Kool-Aid just dashes out. Barely stays alive here. This one's close. Barrick, is he getting the love and affection that he needs to stay alive? Fishy pushing up over the top. Random Noob. Delicate duel. This is big. Fishy gets a big angle here if he can kill the Maeve. Target swaps onto the tanks. Was that wise? Random Noob doing a great job distracting, buying time, and it looks like it's going to pay off.
It's like probably gonna go to, yeah, Kool-Aid had to go to the point after Joe died kind of early. Even with the trades, I mean, having your Ashe go on point with Battering Ram, it can only go so long.
Damn. Can only
Only
go
so
so
much
long. That was starting to go VP's way. Hekate
Yeah.
picks up 2 in the slow-mo. Fish is still there, still healthy, still kind of fragging. It's just a Barrack Genos trying to run into a Damba Inara Khan, man. It's a lot of mitigation on that Envy front line. You got to get these fights done quickly. Again, man, drops down, gets this kill. Was that the misclick, though? Trying to get the... If Fish lives there, does that go through?
Do you think maybe it was because he used F for movement?
Probably. Probably. I think that's really the only thing that you could come to, the only conclusion that could possibly be drawn. Well, Vex is still 8-2. Everybody else is kind of dying a lot on Virtus.Pro, but they're hanging in there. 4-9.
Their damage is really solid.
Yeah, 7-2, 2-7, but they are keeping up on the charts.
That's what matters here. I mean, trying to sustain. They have, they're doing that much damage against Inara Dom, but you need to be able to keep up through all that healing they have.
Uh-oh, big surround coming through again. Fishy's tired of it. He wants to get this Maeve out of his face. She's floating nearby. Very, very far away, though. How long can Fish afford to be distracted here? Khan's pushing him as well. Time and space, it's good! Vex from downtown will slay out Tolkien. Fish is gonna die on the backside of this fight. He gets nothing for it. But again, half comeback mechanic is putting VP in a good spot there from distance. Hekate finds another gift.
You can't forget Sniper Leon. She is the hybrid, the best one. Dome Shield on the point, gonna make it hard for Rubu to touch. He'll be able to contest, but how long will he be able to do it? Just touching for the OT. King Bomb coming in actually from a mile away. Do they see it coming from above? Actually, doesn't look like Tolkien's looking. He might get stunned by this. Can they get the kill on him in time? No, Resilience is gonna save him. Rubu shielding on the point. Doe actually getting traded too. Fish fighting here, but I don't know how this is looking for VP.
Oh, Random Noob rotates back in. Fish isn't even looking. Nice bomb from distance again. Gotta get this kill onto Mr. Hayes. They do. Ule stays alive. Fisheko gambles. It pays off. Hekate handles Random Noob. And Fishy just doesn't even think twice about it. Virtus.Pro again. Another payload capture. Another offense commences.
You said that through time and space was from downtown. That King Bomb started in another game. He actually did that on Ascension Peak, and it just made it to point now.
God bless him. And I mean, same with Hekate's kill. All of those were very long distance, almost you think you're safe, you think you're out of the woods, but no such luck. Envy slapped out of the sky. Rubu, I think I want to commend him. Frankly, that was a pretty Herculean effort to keep his team in that as long as he could, to flank as many people as he did. Really, really good job absorbing the Enlightenment as well, but it just wasn't enough. Virtus.Pro just made more miracle plays.
Yeah, I mean, the game plan from Envy is solid, but I think VP are just really ready for it. They're working their sustain. They're playing a sustain. They're playing a damage build in a sustained position. That's what I was trying to say. They're holding inside. They're Rubu dying on a flank. This might be really rough for Envy. Can they handle this? Random on the side. Fish knows. Fish is looking for him, but he doesn't know where he is. He might win this. The DR keeping Random alive. Running on top. He has to fight to contest the point, but he dies to Hekate. Pule zoning. King Bomb in the way. They're going to stun Rubu. Going to burn him out. And it looks like VP will take this.
Wow, there it is. VP stand up and a thunderous roar is let loose from Hekate. They
Someone
feel
just sprinted by.
real good. That was Mr. Rain Day. I don't even think he was prepared for that one to go that way. Na'Vi upset by Penta. Team Envy, the reigning world champions, take a seat at the MSI as well. VP, the 6th seed, barely make the cutoff to MSI, but they stand tall over Team Envy.
Wow, what a fantastic performance by
What
them,
a day, what a day, what a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness gracious.
They
now.
VP just looked so ready for them, I think, on a lot of the maps. Like, they looked a little shaken at the start of the map. Oh, that's what they're doing. And then they just fixed it, which is something that I don't think has been their strength throughout the season, honestly.
That was an explosive offense. I mean, that felt like the payload started to move, and it never stopped. I mean, Virtus.Pro, it felt like they got that offense done in 30 to 45 seconds. A couple of those big frags. Rubu goes for that flank on Akate. It doesn't pay off, and you get a really good view of it, frankly, from Vex's perspective.
Yeah.
All of Virtus.Pro's health bars are like this, and this, but they're all safe at the end of the day. They get out of combat, heal up, and VP finish the drill. Nice job, Virtus.Pro. Take the set. Let's get it back up to the desk and wrap up the day.
Appreciate it, fellas, and what a set 4 it was. I'm not going to make the same mistake. Virtus.Pro, top to bottom.
Boom!
What a performance from them. Big plays from Vex this time around. Even individual through time and spaces. Not the quadra kill, but setting up your team in a 4v5. Of the 3 games that Envy lost, all of them they had 3 points and a significant lead, and then all of them they lost that 3-point lead. In Virtus.Pro, what fight they showed today.
And Fishy as well, leading the charge, top damage in the game. Some of the most incredible maneuvers we've seen with BK as far as getting efficient damage on the board. And with a 9 and 13 slash line, you could tell it wasn't a great start. But what was so impactful was the stuff you didn't see. 11 and 2. That's more kills than anyone on the side of Envy.
Yep.
I mean, you have to give credit where credit is due, and you have to acknowledge, again, the significance of what Vex has put together. And it's preaching to the choir, obviously. I respect it. I think you guys at this point respect it. But it's just something we don't often get to see. Someone who openly states, this is my focus, this is what I'm doing. I'm giving up something important to me to be better in something that is the most important to me. And those sacrifices end up paying dividends in life. They pay dividends here. And it's just awesome to see that go to a very deserving guy.
Absolutely. Deserving. Top thing, I absolutely agree with you. 11.5 KDA in this one. 181,000 healing on top of important plays. I mean, the stats only tell so much of a story. It's the individual moments. You know, through time and space, as much damage as it does, that's just another stat in the damage column. If that's all you look at, you have to look at the impact it has. He sets up these team fights in 4v5s. He keeps his teams in these games with this fight, and that's the emotion. That's how important it is to this team. They've had such a hard split, and coming out on top, beating Envy here, it's huge for them. The emotion is running high in the best way possible.
So good to see
for
man.
Virtus.Pro. I know, it's a big smile. It's a big smile.
You know, Doe has gone very far. When I remember young shopping, I was sitting down at the airport bar, and I saw these guys, and of the first 5 guys I ever talked to, it was like War Doom, Cuss, Dosips, and that crew of gentlemen ended up having all different journeys to get here. But Doe has had maybe some of the most unusual of that squad, right? And it's been ups and it's been downs, but it's been beautiful, and the pop-off is well-deserved. There's a big win going on just now.
Deserve it. Well-warranted, well-deserved. Day 1 of your finals bracket is all wrapped up. Let's take a look at what tomorrow has in store. NIP Space Station 3-0-3-1. Kanga, Sour Team both falling to the 2 teams that'll be facing off first tomorrow. Hey, Evan, say it with me. Penta is the first team. Is the second team that's starting off our semifinals tomorrow up against Virtus.Pro off a 3-1 win. I was going to ask what stands out to you there.
What stands out to you, Ev? There's a little too much to talk about in that. You know what? If you were in Vegas right now and you had placed a bet on it being Virtus.Pro versus Penta instead of Navi versus Envy, you probably would have made like $100,000 off of a $5 bet. It would have been the odds astronomically low. But it's something that is so special about esports and competition. Sometimes the ball bounces the other team's way, and today it was not bouncing their way. They absolutely stole it. They ran into the goal. They slam dunked it. These 2 teams deserve to be there, even though seeding didn't necessarily say that.
Virtus.Pro, they showed so much fight throughout all of this. They got punched, but they punched right back, and even stronger. They win our final matchup of the day. We will have 3 sets tomorrow, 2 semifinals, 1 final. We're returning to a best-of-7 format, so now you got to win 4 in order to move on. That's going to start 11 a.m. tomorrow at mixer.com/Paladins Day. To round us out, let's send it to an interview with the big winners.
Well, gentlemen, the theme of the day was upsets, and you couldn't be outdone by Penta. You had to get one of your own. That was a super fun one to watch. The Des mentioned, well-deserved, well-warranted. Kate, I think you shared a lot of that sentiment. You said this was hard. This one was a war. I mean, are your hands shaking after that one, or those pressure situations, man? They got to get to you.
I mean, more than shaking hands, it was mental body, right? The emotions of start winning again here at the PPL, giving it back to Envy because we got, I think, 4-1 the last time. So it was really important for us as a team. So definitely a lot of emotions after every single win.
Speaking about how it went last time, I think you guys looked really prepared for whatever we're going to bring out today. But I know that some of you were traveling most of the last week and weren't really able to practice as much. Did you guys make up for that with different reviews or going really hard? Because you guys, like I said, looked really prepared even with that practice.
So going into this week, we had Akate, Puli, and Fish all traveling, and we didn't want to scrim on high ping the whole time. So what we did is we kind of took a step back. We took time to focus on our mechanics. We pubbed a lot. We played a lot of games, and we prepped for Envy as well. That's how we kind of set up for today.
Kati, you sound a little under the weather, a little sick maybe. Are you feeling stuffed up? You feeling 100% today?
No, that's for sure. I came here totally sick, like worst fly in my life, not gonna lie. So I've been all these days, taking some medication stuff. But, even if you're sick, if you have the motivation, the team and everything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was my next point. A lot of people, when they're not feeling good, everyone and their mother knows about it. But I don't think anybody, nobody brought that up. Nobody was aware of you being sick today, you feeling under the weather. You came out and you didn't really give your opponents any excuses. You really took it to them. Bex, you pulled a quadra kill on Fury. I mean,
felt good.
That's a pretty feels good, man. You get the payload through as well. Talk to me a little bit about what's the meta here at MSI. Is it feeling like something's leveling off? Have people started to pull, their ace up the sleeve yet?
No, I think the meta is so all over the place. You have no idea what they're going to ban. You have no idea what you're going to ban half the time. Like, you can go into it with a plan, but they throw a curveball. Like, Envy threw a curveball. I forgot which game it was, but they threw a curveball at us, and then we had to adjust and adapt. That's one thing about this MSI is you can pick anything, ban anything, and anything works.
Man, I got to say, it's been one hell of a day. I don't know how we're going to follow this one up. We got our semifinals and our finals tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Congratulations on the big win. Hit that dab, son. It's well-deserved at this point. That does it for us today, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, we have our semifinals and our finals, all best of sevens tomorrow. We will crown our champion tomorrow, starting at 11 a.m. Thank you all, and I'll see you then.